To the roll call. Very well then. Mr. Clerk, public comments now.
The council will now begin the public comment period, which is limited to a maximum of 30 minutes. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Speakers cannot yield or transfer their time to another speaker. Any written comments that have been submitted will be posted and made available for automatic review. Our first speaker today is Lisa Bowden.
Lisa Bowden is not present.
Our next speaker is George Blakemore.
Good morning to my black people here. This is disgraceful. This is Black History Month, and I see some of our beautiful ladies having on these African garments. You don't show your blackness by how you dress. You show your blackness by how you vote. And some of you voted for sanctuary. If anybody needs sanctuary, black people need it. Now this, over here, they very disrespectful. Michelle Harris and all, I'm just talking while I'm talking. They are part of the problem. The black people have issues because you have poor black leadership. And Reverend Wu got somebody up here praying for us. Just pray your way off this plantation. Pray your way into reparation. This is disgraceful. No boycott, no black, empty seats of black people. When it was packed with these illegal immigrants and packed with these white Jews and white Arabs. Where are the black people? The ancestors hate you. They never knew that you were going to turn out like you are and do what you're doing. You're disgraceful. The miseducation of the black man, Carter G. Woodson said, the miseducation of the black man. And what kind of man did they make on the plantation? Use your imagination. It started with an end. We got to purge ourselves of that and become strong black men and women. You got no representation. Black faces in high places, but no representation. It's sad. Look at here. This place shall be packed with black people. You have no pride. You're disgraceful. You to the ancestors. If Dr. King could see this, Malcolm X and all our heroes and sheroes, and Harriet Tubman said, I could have freed no blacks if they knew they were slaves. Don't you know we're still on the plantation? Don't let this fool you. Don't go there. You're not like these white ultimates. You're not like these Hispanic ultimates. You're not like the Asian ultimate. You're a black ultimate. And remember your blackness. Remember where you came from and how you got here. And you haven't got over, looking back, how I got over. You haven't got over the legacy of slavery. You're still on this white man's plantation. In a high place.
Mr. Blakemore, thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Toan Sims.
Hey, good morning, good morning. Good morning. I find it courageous, the way the man speaks. I know y'all think it's entertaining, and a lot of us bow our heads to it because we convicted by it. But we losing in this city, black people. I'm the young black man that love black people. I'm the young black man that's wild about black people. But I'm also the young black man in this city that's being underserved, mistreated, and just basically made to be invisible. I've been attacked in this city, shot multiple times. I've been pushed to the side by law enforcement. For what reason, I don't know. I'm attacked by judges. For what reason, I don't know. I guess it's for speaking up for black people. That's the only thing I could think about. But we just received new representation. and Brandon Johnson. I was like, yeah, we got a smart black man in the school board, all these little different things. I was like, yeah. But then I think about other things. So to speak about what, I'm from Rogers Park. I'm from the north side for 30 years. I'm sure most of you all are here about Paulina or East Rogers Park and not understand how can that be a part of the north side of Chicago. Multiple murders, unsolved. My brother was killed in 1995. His name is Walter Sims. I have not had a follow-up call. There was a young man murdered, a few months ago when the yellow line crashed. His name is Kenneth. He was murdered by a young man named Kamari. I know both of these young kids. Friends murdered, but one of them is going to get off because the charges that were filed against him were dropped. So the city is showing us that black lives don't matter, or black life does not matter to it. And we being condemned in this sense. We being forgotten in that thought. So I'm the young black man, Toan Sims, that love black people and want to see some type of resolve in it. Some reparation, maybe. Some understanding, hopefully. These are our electeds. We got Maria Haddon, Alderman Bill in the far south side. Everybody that should feel responsible. Everybody lining their pockets, everybody getting something out of it. Everybody, except for the people. So we ask, honestly, wholeheartedly, when do we get the consideration? When? Honestly, I'm from your Ward 49th. We got a congressional woman been in the office for 24 years. When do we get some consideration? No, don't shake your head, Maria, because I've been hitting you up for the last few weeks. I'm sleeping in the 24th district, woman, and you still ain't, please. But sorry, y'all.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Jessica Jackson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm sure everybody knows about a movie, Scarface, right? It's a classic, Al Pacino, right? Everybody knows about that movie. And we focus on the famous lines in that movie. You know, the acting and the hello to my little friend and all that. But it's the beginning of that movie that matters. When those words are coming up on that screen, that's what matters. And those words say, in May 1980, Fidel Castro opened the harbor at Merrill, Cuba, with the apparent intention of letting some of his people join their relatives in the United States. Within 72 hours, 3,000 U.S. boats were headed for Cuba. It soon became evident that Castro was forcing the boat owners to carry back with them not only their relatives, but the dregs of his jails. Of that 125,000 refugees that landed in Florida, an estimated 25,000 had criminal records. That's what's up. That's what has happened in the United States right now. All this asylum-seeking lie, all this about refugees. No. What's happening is they're emptying out the dregs of their jails into the United States, into our communities. They're junking up our country. And yeah, we feel some kind of way about it because it's our country. It's our country. People like Vasquez and them, look how disrespectful they are. Now, you just gave that man a resolution for his father's restaurant. And every time we get up and talk, he's working this room. Look at him. Look at him. But he wants his resolution for his father to be respected. Vasquez, Lopez, all them want their people to be respected, but they can't even give us the dignity for what we built, but them. Ain't no question about it. Yeah, Black History Month. The American descendants of slavery. And I want you to know, Brandon Johnson, I understand what Blakemore is saying about we still on the plantation, but what you're looking at right now, This is what a free Negro look like. And I'm telling you, we're going to get our city back. We're going to stand for our people. We're going to get them out of our communities because they don't deserve to be there. Anytime they can't give us 3 lousy minutes of their attention while we sit here and watch y'all get them all kind of money, you watch us. We black out here, and we're going to handle our business. You watch that. I'm a free black woman. This is how we get down.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Zoe Lee.
I'm going to start with the words of Desmond Yancey. This behavior is not only acceptable, it is an indication that he is unfit for leadership. Majority of the people sitting on city council is unfit for leadership. And I know this is not the same Yancey that didn't vote censure Carlos Ramirez Rosa because they would weaponize you. None of you public servants cannot afford to be arguing and fighting like children when it's a whole war outside. Let's get into it. It's 68,000 Chicagoans that are homeless. Majority of them are black. Our black kids are running rampant out here, record carjackings, record auto theft, and robberies. Downtown has 3 to 4 illegal families on every block begging for work and selling Kit Kat bars after $1 billion was spent on them. Where is that money? Where is the money for the South Side and the West Side communities? That should be the argument. It's 20 black aldermen and women and a lot of upset black constituents who voted y'all in. So run into the white media outlets who won't even run a story about stolen properties being taken in our communities, the displacement of elder people, the mass illegal evictions happening on the South Side, and the massive bed bug problem that the Chicago Public Housing Authority has had and is not being addressed. When it's a Chicago bed bug ordinance that is supposed to charge the landlord $2,000 per day. So just like the Latino alder people in here that stick together, it should be the same with the blacks. And lastly, when are you going to find a floor leader? It's been 3 months. That should be another argument. We also will be voting no to bring Chicago home on March 19th. And Mayor Johnson, glad to hear you decided not to ask City Council to approve not another dollar for the illegals. If the crisis is so bad, the City Council members who are so concerned should donate their salaries to the cause like a real public servant should. Happy fucking Black History.
We just want to remind that speakers are reminded that people of all ages are listening to the public comments, and we ask that you please refrain and respect the others and refrain from personal attacks or using profanity. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Michael Young Bay.
May I have your undivided attention, please?
Yes, you do. Good morning.
Okay. Because when someone's speaking up at this mic, shouldn't the alderman be talking or having no sidebar or nothing? That also is in y'all rules. Just as well as when the vote is on the table, or you're doing a roll call, shouldn't nobody be leaving in and out. But that happened during the Emmett incident. You see, y'all not respecting the rules, and so you're not respecting the public. And as the chairman, the mayor should be calling y'all out. That's what a chairman do. He don't sit back and allow y'all to break the rules. Because if we do something that you don't like, then you want to call the police. You want to have a person removed. You see? What we've been speaking about is about reparations. We've been down here speaking about fair wages. We've been speaking about the homeless of our people. And for the most part, it's been falling on deaf ear. It's been falling on deaf ear. You can say I prophesied this day, because yesterday for the members that was here, I say it'll be us 3 plus 1. So Joey here today. And I gave honors to Greg Mitchell. And today, I give honors to Haddon, you know, for hearing my wife, for helping, assisting. Jeanette Taylor, for bringing us in her office to hear our plea. Also to Yancey. I give high honors to him too, for assisting me, etc. We have to show more love and unity amongst each other, because it's a bigger fight out here. It's a real big fight because, you know, I'm actually experiencing all these things. They say they gave migrants $9,000. Damn, they let us go all the way months to get in court to where our bill ran up to $9,000. We came down here. I gave you a hard drive with every information on there, Mayor Johnson, and you still haven't met with me and my wife. What's going on? Why you can't meet with us and the discrimination that was happening to us? Y'all be talking this stuff about the children and stuff. It started over Salvation Army discriminating against my child, a 5-year-old child. Well, at the time, 3. Broke my daughter hard that she can't go to the class that they had in the Salvation Army. She was crying for weeks. She have a delay right now because of that, because my daughter don't like just toys. Her number one thing is education at school. You see, I've been fighting a lot with the nonsense that's been going on. Then I come down here and it's the nonsense. And City Hall supposed to be something sacred. But yet y'all got somebody pastoring, sound like he running for a campaign.
Thank you very much, sir, for your comments. Your Honor, there are no further speakers who have timely signed up for the public comment period.
Thank you very much. Resolutions. We have 3 resolutions today celebrating Black History Month, honoring the legacy of the Divine Nine, and honoring the 157th anniversary of Morehouse College. Alderman Mitchell.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Morning.
I move for the temporary suspension of the rules for the immediate consideration of these resolutions.
Hearing no objections, so ordered. In the interest of respecting people's time, we will forego the reading of the resolutions and go straight to remarks from the City Council. So we're going to allow for a moment for the box, for our guests to have an opportunity to get to the box. But our first resolution is celebrating Black History Month.
30 minutes. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Speakers cannot yield or transfer their time to another speaker. Any written comments that have been submitted will be posted and made available for aldermanic review. The first speaker today is Casia Jones.
Please, good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am a constituent of the Gage Park neighborhood. Since June, you decided to turn our park into a shelter. Our community is running lawless with illegal Venezuelans taking over our streets. We feel like prisoners in our own homes. As a taxpayer, we can't even enjoy our own park anymore. We are unable to take walks. Our amazing programs have been removed, especially for the disabled children that live near this park. We worked hard to improve our park, our neighborhood, but because of your irresponsible move, this is not impossible. Their illegal cars are parking on the residents' permit street. They are selling food without permit, causing traffic, yet no police reinforcement to help us. Guys are standing on the side of the building, doing God knows what, riding their bicycles around the neighborhood and looking to break into our houses, garages, and cars. Smoking weed and drinking in the park in broad daylight. You guys threw us to the wolves, and now we have to deal with the trouble you brought to our neighborhood. Unlike the illegals, as a legal immigrant myself, I know what I had to do to enter your country. I was required to do a background check, vaccinations, pay an expensive fee, bring a work letter from my previous job. Shall I go on? Some might be good, but the others are here to cause trouble. For example, my neighbors had their car broken into, packages stolen from their front yards, and someone pee on my property. Yes. I'm requesting Alderman Vasquez, Mayor Johnson, and those who made this decision to walk our neighborhood and see what's happening there. You want to look good by helping them, yet we taxpayers are left behind. We are now being put in harm's way because of the crimes they commit in our neighborhood. Your no-consequence policy tells them it's okay to commit these damn crimes. Now, what about the citizen and the legal immigrants who came before them? We're still waiting years for our own families to enter this country legally. It is frustrating to see our voice censored and feeling hopeless. Finally, we know the illegals are returning in the middle of the night, parking our residential permit area, acting if the shelter is a bed and breakfast. They need to leave now. We want our park back, and we demand that. It's not fair. You guys putting us in jeopardy. Kids cannot go outside. 2 weeks ago, someone was peeing in my yard. A lady grabbed a branch of a tree and took my package from Amazon. They are breaking to cars. 6:53 a.m. I have videos to prove. Break into cars, and we cannot do nothing about it. Cops come, they see, and they go away. Selling food all the time.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Michael Young Bay.
Oh, wow. Honest.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning. I'm more so in celebration mode. See, I came down here for homelessness, you know, and try to get housing, rental assistance, etc. And it seemed like y'all playing a political game with my family, and I'm a straight shooter. So you just got, I can withstand the truth. So I can understand somebody say, no, we ain't giving y'all nothing. You know, I can respect that. Just tell me just like that. I ain't helping you get nothing. But y'all giving these migrants something. They keep on coming down here to people, pressing, hey, this what's going on in our neighborhoods. This what's going on in our neighborhoods. And then the news don't even show what need to be shown. That's right, fake news. That's why you got more real news right here. You see, because I've been doing investigations, because when them migrants first came to the 49th Ward, I gave them clothes. I gave them coats. You see, so I know what's going on. And I kept saying that for the longest. Well, I know you people don't know what's going on to the extent with this migrant and this immigration stuff. Because if y'all so much saying that Texas doing this and Texas doing that, why everybody college parked outside them shelters that's employees, their license plates have Texas on there. You know, give me that job, man. I do security. Why you giving this to somebody from Texas? You see, that's what's going on. Don't help me come out here. I told y'all, I had to let go last time because it's stuff involving my child. So me as a father, and I know that these places are against fathers. They're against husbands. I'm a married man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm standing up for men. I'm standing up for these homeless shelters that y'all got our people in that got mold, that got rats, that got roaches, bed bugs, etc. And y'all putting them in nice hotels. You know, what's going on with that? How's our people? Y'all that bring Chicago home needed to fail. And I push for it to fail. Because if you want to bring the citizens of Chicago home, them people that's already in shelters, especially our veterans, they died for us. They died for us, especially our veterans. Put them in CHA property. House them. You ain't got to spend no dime as much as the millions and billions that been spent for these immigrants here, these migrants here, these asylum seekers here, which ultimately are illegal here. And there's people here that been going on the radar. They can't get a green card or work permit, and they've been here 20, 30 years. Seniors panhandling on the street because they can't get nothing. I'm for the people. And I ain't come to...
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Mrs. Lawrence.
What does it prosper a man or profits a man to gain the world and lose his soul? We're going to start off with scripture because Mr. Johnson, you love quoting and thumping scriptures up there. And this is something I think is special for you. So I thought I would state that to you. We're going to talk about this executive order of yours that comes from 2023-16, where I'm not going to read it all because I don't have the time. But one thing I want to point out is how you made it clear that you're going to stick these people in our neighborhoods and that we have to just accept it. That's absolutely not, because we've talked about this since last year, when most of you older people who did not stand up with us and reject the sanctuary city. Now, I got a problem with that. And I spoke that on December 14th. So I think we need to cut down the staff of the older people here. How about that? Because you all are not all representing us. How about those who stood up and represented us? Then you stay in your offices. But the rest of you, goodbye. Because that's how we're going to see it when it's time to vote. That's where we're going with that. Home, Illinois 2021, that's when it came out, and Bring Chicago Home. Robbery. They both are for homeless causes that you all claimed they're for. You and Prisker need to sync up, because both of you all are trying to pull the same number, which you claim is homeless. And I think you might recall that I said, I'm out here helping the homeless. I got a recording from a homeless that also said, y'all just don't care. You just don't care. There, hearing it straight from the homeless. Now, WOTC, Work Opportunity Tax Credit, 400 plus businesses. Hyatt, which is Prisker's company, all are hiring refugees and kicking all of y'all out. Now, how about that for news that's not being broadcast? See, I do my digging, I do my research, and all of you all will know when I step up here to this mic, I bring the facts. I don't bring no opinions. So you all need to be careful of how you think you're treating us, because we coming for this. We bringing our city back. We removing all these illegals that's breaking our rules and laws, and we're fed up. So it needs to stop. Get your police out there and stop them breaking these laws. I got a lot more to say, but since my time is up, I think I picked on the most important, essential matter. Get it cleaned up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is George Blakemore.
Please, please. Wait now. Wait now. I don't want y'all to steal my minutes. Even though those clocks are up here on me, they tick quietly and quickly. Illegal immigrants. Something is wrong with black people. You got all these black faces in high places and you get nothing. Who would let knock on my door? I don't know you. Where you come from? Who's your mama, your daddy? Are you a criminal? Are you a pedophile? You're not getting in. You're not, knock. Your ass not getting in. Excuse me. I don't know nothing about you. The young lady say, a background check. Who are these people? Where did these people come from? Why would you bring them here? And why would you push them on the black community, the most poor of all? We are in a caste system here. And at the bottom of this caste system, black people. I'm not talking about India. I'm talking about right here. And you got the audacity, you black ones I'm talking to, the audacity to bring in an illegal immigrant. Why would you do this? Sell out. Ain't your mama. House in. Yes, I said it. Because that's the way you act. It's something wrong here. It's something evil here. It's something corrupt here. What is it, Mr. Blakemore? All of these people here are Democrats. All of them are Democrats. Well, over in China, they got a one-party system. In Chicago, they do too. Yes, the most corrupt city in the United States. The most racist city in the United States. Who said that? Dr. King? Dr. King, what about, what is your criteria for corruption? Burt and all of them get indicted, stealing, and just terrible here. And these young people are coming here, and they're looking at me, and they're looking at you. Now, you all make your opinion. It's something evil here, something corrupt here, something un-American here. You're going to bring in the illegals? When they wade across the Rio Grande, they're not wading across to help black people. But they are selfish people, and we black people got to be selfish. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. And that preacher talking about loving everybody. Black people love you. Love you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Joanna Galan.
Love you. No, I can love nobody but you.
Gay park in the house.
Thank you, Mr. Blakemore. We are moving on to our next speaker. Thank you. Please.
Hi to everyone. My name is Joanna Galan. I'm from Gage Park neighborhood. I'm here to say to all representatives, you are the one who put us in this issue, and we are the taxpayers. The taxpayers. We are the ones who put you there. So the less you can do is do your job and bring us our safety back. And I have the right to say it in Spanish as well, and I will. Estoy representando a la comunidad de Gage Park. Ustedes pusieron este problema en nuestras manos. Trajeron a los refugiados a nuestra comunidad. La mayoría de nosotros ni siquiera lo supo hasta que ya estaban ahí. Nosotros nos quejamos porque están haciendo de nuestras vidas un problema. Mis hijos no pueden salir al parque. Mis hijos ni siquiera pueden estar en mi propia yarda porque se quejan del olor de la marihuana. Algo que antes no pasaba. Tal vez nuestros vecindarios no eran los mejores para vivir, pero ustedes lo han hecho peor. Nosotros los pusimos en donde están y ustedes tienen la obligación de escucharnos. Y también se lo digo a los medios de comunicación. Si yo me quejo en español, espero que los medios de comunicación en español se hagan presente. Gracias, Univisión, por estar presente y por hacer nuestra voz que se escuche. We want our safety back. It's not fair for our kids. It's not fair for our elders. It's not safe for our special kids' needs. You take the field house from us. And our neighborhood is trash now. I dare you to walk by there at night. And I promise you, you will not like it and you will not be back there. Les pido a nuestros representantes hispanohablantes, están ahí por una razón, los pusimos por una razón, porque confiamos en ustedes y nos están fallando. The system is failing us. We are the ones who put you there, and we are the ones who can take you back the power. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Joseph Michael Chopin.
Hello, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Joseph Chopin. I have just two things to say. I came to this city maybe 10 years ago, almost, and I came to produce a movie about Harold Washington. I went through CineSpace, I went through all the investors, I went through most of the people on the city council, even the mayors and the governors, and went to the dinners. And I realized that there's an issue with financing in this city. There's an issue with financing young entrepreneurs in this city, and young black entrepreneurs in this city. Yeah, but dark-skinned black entrepreneurs with like curly hair and kinky hair. It's not light-skinned people or white people. It's always going to be dark people with curly hair that have the issue. The only person on this council that I can recognize that helped me get to the mayor was Lamont Robinson. Now, I'm just going to say, because I saw him in the corner here, so I just want to make sure I put that out there. But I found myself in Africa asking young people and entrepreneurs, how do you get money in America? How do you get money for your project in America without going through some grant program where somebody's stealing money or somebody's taking something from somebody else, or somebody doesn't like somebody else, or somebody is trying to get the money for their community and their roads? So I think that the issue is that black people, that we're going to keep coming here and complaining. We're going to, but now it's just about if you're going to listen. Are you really going to listen to us? Because there's a lot of young people who want money, a lot of young people who want opportunity, and they'll find it in other places. You can see them flying other places to different places. And I'm imploring all young black people here today, Africa is your friend. Don't be afraid of Africa. Don't be afraid. If they don't give it to you here, get your business high up so that you can go out there and ask other people for money, because obviously they don't have any money.
Yes, they do, but they do.
And for certain people, they do. For certain people, they do. For certain people, they have money, but for others, they do not. If you're black, if you have African descent, there's money for you, there's opportunities for you in other places. Sell here, live there. Sell here, live there. Obviously, there's an issue. Sell here, live there. I'm saying it with all my heart, because it doesn't make any sense how excellence can come right in your face and you say, you know what, we don't have money for that.
Oh.
It's sad.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Dallas Trent. Dallas Trent. Our next speaker is Natasha Gray.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to start off by saying it's nice to see the young people here. All right, I have a heart, okay? I do have a heart, but what I do not appreciate is your issue with us and our need for self-preservation, okay? This country has not made it made clean with us as African Americans here. We should not give them a pass on what happens with us here, okay? You appointed a deputy mayor of immigration because we have a refugee immigrant crisis. You've been having a crisis in the city. Where's our deputy mayor? A bunch of boulets sitting here, okay? A bunch of boulets sitting here. And Vasquez, you are an alderman. When have you stood with your people out there protesting? I saw you 2 Saturdays ago at Pritzker Park at 4:30 p.m. Why you find the strength to protest with them? Even after you give these people work permits, okay, you need to be honest with them. It is highly expensive to live here in Chicago. There will be an additional burden on the welfare system. We don't need that. How many schools did you all close? You got over 5,000 of their children in the schools. You didn't build any new schools. But you want us to focus on giving these teachers extra money. This is you guys' future. Okay? I don't see how, and I hate to play the race card, but the government has given us no other choice but to play the race card. And stop asking these people for anything. You're supposed to be demanding. Okay? But you know what? Once they're done using you to lead us to slaughter, they're going to put you in the grinder next. That's how it always happens. And don't play on our emotions with Harold Washington, okay? Because he did do a great thing. But what you did in March 23, That was a slap in the face to all Americans, not just black Americans, okay? The reason why I bring us up is because we are in a national crisis, okay? But when anything is of scarcity, they take from us first. That's why we are in here so loud, screaming in your ear every week about our issues. Most of our time has already come, but we have to fight for our kids. Because they're the ones you're going to have to worry about in a minute.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Michael Peters. Our next speaker is Ruben Castro.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
morning,
morning,
Mayor.
Good morning.
My name is Ruben Castro. I am from the Gage Park neighborhood. A little bit about me. I am born and raised in Chicago. I am a CPS alumni from kindergarten all the way to senior in high school. I graduated at one of the highest dropout rates. At the time, it was 50% dropout rate. And I graduated with an accounting degree from Roosevelt University. And I also worked for large organizations, Fortune 500 companies, and I would say I'm an example of the city of Chicago. Yeah. With that being said, I'm here to represent my community, Gage Park. Gage Park is going through a crisis right now. Ever since the migrant, and before I even say that too, I want to first by saying that Gage Park is not anti-immigrant. We have documented and undocumented people living in our neighborhoods. Ever since the migrants started to move in our field house, we started to see an increase in in violence. As a matter of fact, there was a gang violence because someone got killed on 55th and Western in front of the field house, and so a lot of people speculated that it was gang related. People do not feel safe even going to the park anymore. We have seen an increase in alcohol use, drug use, cars being broken into, and not only that, but people are also breaking into garage doors. Someone seeking asylum doesn't do that. When my family came here, my family benefited from the Reagan administration during that time frame. That type of immigrant, people came here to work, they came here to build, and they came here to respect. The people that are moving in here now are not respecting us. They're not respecting our neighborhood. They're littering everywhere. People don't feel safe. And I'm also very disappointed in Andre Vasquez and Carla Ramirez Rosa. For some weird reason, you all are getting media time, yet we literally had a press conference on Sunday talking about this, yet for some weird reason, the media chose to pick Andre Vasquez's side and not our side, and that's why we're here. Just to let you know, as you all know, that the Democratic National Convention is going to be happening in November.
Just for a second,
and
sir.
just to let
Hold on. Stop his time. Continue.
Just to let you know that the Democratic National Convention is going to be here in November, and there's a growing number of people in the Hispanic community that will not be voting the same way as they did before. If we do not, in August, if we do not get issues resolved, people will not be voting how they used to before. And this is for everybody here. Everybody here. Everyone should be trembling right now because there is a movement happening that people will not be voting the same way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comments. Your Honor, there are no further speakers who have timely signed up for the public comment period.
Thank you very much. This concludes our...
It's felt by many people in South Shore, so I urge you to support the South Shore CBA ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Michael Young Bay.
This $70 million. $70 million. And not counting the past millions of dollars that this city done approved of this state and the county, etc. $70 million. Y'all won't even put $1 million in one neighborhood. $1 million in one neighborhood. Brandon Mayor Johnson, you say that you for the children, etc., you for the youth, you know, you want to have work programs for the youth, etc. Well, $1 million for these work programs for these children. See, I'm not going to address nobody in the room no more. I'm going to just address you whenever this is city council. Because I gave you a hard drive of what me and my family has experienced as far as the discrimination against me and my child and my wife. You know, that comes from places like the Safer Foundation. That come from All Chicago. That come from Bring Chicago Home. You see, that come for these ministers that y'all have. You know, if you go look on Bring Chicago Home site, you see all them reverends and things like that. They got all these nice churches in these neighborhoods. Nice mega churches. And our people homes. And I don't even want to say our people home, because some people, we got to be honest, they do let their stuff go. They do live up in trash, etc. And willingly of their own will. But what about the face? Like, what about 79th Street? You see what I'm saying? What about the face? What about 71st Street? What about all these different streets with these abandoned buildings, with these empty lots? And then the churches come up and try to buy these lots. That's why I say to the people, come up out of her. Come up out of Rome. That's why I say that, come up out of there. The snake is no good. It don't matter who they put at the head. He ain't running nothing. We got to be honest about this situation. But I'm still going to talk to you. I'm still going to call you out. I'm still going to say the names. And then I'm coming down here fighting about me and my family housing and being discriminated and retaliated against, and I get attacked by Greg Mitchell. Wow. But, you know, and I still been trying to come here, be humble and things like that, and give honors and respect and things like that, but y'all ain't trying to hear that. So now I'm going to go press these charges and I'm going to do this lawsuit. I'm not finna play with y'all. I told y'all. And I got proof. I got evidence. I got the video of me having the unit, hard drive, etc. You know what I'm saying? So I'm Michael Youngbay to the media.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your comments. However, your time has expired. Our next speaker is Kirby Kalen.
Hello, and thank you for taking my public comment. My name is Kirby Kalen, and I am an organizer in the 32nd Ward, where I focus on expanding public access to mental health care, housing, and public safety. I'd like to start my comment by addressing the Godzilla in the room, and by that, I of course mean affordable housing. The Finance Committee endorsed the proposal for $1.25 billion for affordable housing over the next 5 years. So much of life as a Chicagoan these days is defined by the transient nature of constantly moving every year or two because you can no longer live in the community you want to place roots. And so we need to build affordable housing. Let's borrow money, let's cut some tape and build more affordable housing units across this city with speed and safety. I also want to address the substitute order to change the future of ShotSpotter to a ward-by-ward basis. We cannot do this. We need to cancel the ShotSpotter contract and discontinue its use citywide. An aldermanic discretion of ShotSpotter would lead to a patchwork across the city of profiling, oppression, and aggression. If we are truly to believe that policing can fight crime, we don't need to be expending their resources on something that leads to 85% of the time to incidents where there's no evidence of a gun crime, 90% of the time with no evidence of a crime at all. ShotSpotter wastes our resources and puts those that are most vulnerable at risk of being profiled and damaged by our police. And I also want to spend time speaking on the migrant funding. This is a crisis across our city, but it is not because of the immigrants, it is because of our lack of allocation of resources. This migrant crisis is a resource crisis, and we need vast resources to protect our new community members. 70 million Hey, you can fight it as much as you want, but it's true. These are our neighbors. These are now a part of our communities. Immigrants are a basis for our future as a city. Ever since the beginning to now, immigrants are the lifeblood of this city, and we need to support them. Not just in the 70 millimeter, but to address the future of this city. We need investments in affordable housing, public access to mental health care, so that these people are protected and ensure that they can live in Chicago in a community that is vibrant, depending not only them, but the connections within the community. $70 million is a great way to start, but it's not enough. It's possible for us to not spend enough on migrant funding. It is not possible for us to spend it's not possible for us to spend too much. We're spending too little. Let's expand the money for migrants. They need our support. They're not going anywhere. We are a welcoming city. We're going to stay that way. So let's make sure they are protected. Thank you. That's my public comments. Whoa. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Richard Poso.
Before our next speaker, just a second, sir. Before our next speaker, I would respectfully ask yet again that those that are participating in democracy allow our speakers to finish their presentation. If you cannot adhere to that expectation, I'm going to ask that our Sergeant at Arms remove you. Give our speakers the respect that they deserve. They're 3 minutes. You may commence, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody here. My name is Richard. Last name is Poso. I'm a store manager at an automotive facility here in Chicago. I'm a native to Chicago. It's near and dear to my heart. The city doesn't feel the same anymore. There's a lot of stuff going on right now that's really hard to process. There's a lot of people here that have watched me on social media. I'm a social media influencer, and I've heard the word getting back to me. Some of the people that work for you have gotten stuff back to me. I'm going to say what I have to say regardless. You can come after me if you want. You can try to slander me if you want. Some of the aldermen can talk behind my back if you want. But there's 31 out of 50 aldermen, December 14th, that turned their back on the public, that said, I will not take their vote on this city continuing to be a sanctuary city. You turned it to yourself to speak for us. You turned it to yourself to speak for the public. We pay you, you work for us. We put you there. How can you stand there and say anything about, we don't want to take their vote? We're going to speak on their behalf, and this is how it's going to be. It shouldn't work that way. Any politician that feels like they deserve that type of control over people, they don't deserve to be politicians. They don't deserve to be in the spot that they're in. Second of all, I'm a veteran. I served 15 months in a war zone for this country where I got hurt. Yes, the VA does take care of me. But every year I'm hearing, let's take away, let's take away, let's take away, let's give back, let's take away, let's give back. But we have immigrants that serve with us, that put their life on the line, that are still fighting for citizenship, that are in the military, that deserve all the respect in the world, and they don't get it. They come back, they're still fighting for citizenship. Some of them don't get it, they get deported. These are people that put their life on the line for this country, for all of you to have the freedom and the jobs that you have, and they don't get the respect to have somebody care for them and help them through the process. But all of you guys out here will vote for people that are complete aliens to this country, that have nothing. Tren de Agua, Venezuela, anything coming from the Honduras, all these people are coming here. They've cleared out these prisons years ago, and they're sending all these people here. They don't want them there. They don't serve them a purpose. They're showing up here in New York, in Chicago, attacking people in the streets. The police are fighting with them in the shelters that you guys are funding. You guys think it's a great idea, but yet your police officers are getting attacked. Your public's getting attacked. You're putting our lives at risk by doing what you're doing, and none of you care about it because the mighty dollar sits on top. And as long as somebody's in your pocket that you're working with, you're okay with doing it. You don't care about the citizens. At some point in time, there's going to be an answering for this. What it is, I don't know. But it doesn't look good. And I don't respect most of the people that are in here because you turned your back on the citizens and you said your voice doesn't matter.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Toan Sims.
The homeless, the HMIS, the homeless management information systems. So my number would have been 355061. That would have been issued July 15th, 2021. We financed that endeavor, right? The HMIS, that's financed and budgeted, right? Because this is what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about finance and budget. However, I'm an individual in the room. One individual. Y'all mismanaging this, failing actually. Because once again, July 15th, 2021, it's July, what is it now, what? Anybody, April 17th. I didn't sleep last night worrying about this. I didn't sleep last night imagining, how do you talk to these people to have them understand that, hey, this is difficult to deal with, especially when you're a 43-year-old resident of the city of Chicago versus being somebody who just got here, who being treated just like you should be treated, right? I'm just saying. So yesterday was my son's birthday. If I had housing, we could have spent it pleasantly. I didn't speak to him. His name, Ian Toan Sims. I actually have an order of protection. His mom got it. My son is a star pupil and a star athlete in Evanston High School. However, his father support him to the utmost, and yet I'm attacked over this. I'm attacked maybe because of my views and the fact that, to point out that our government, our city government, now that I understand, has basically turned their back on black Chicagoans. Yeah. Y'all are implementing our demise here in the city through financing and budgeting. I sit in the room and actually get the understanding now. And it's disgusting. The hardship that I'm suffering and been suffering, it seems like it's not only unintentional, it seems like it's manufactured. Like I've been pursued for the last 4 years simply for my views or simply for pointing out the fact that I'm not getting nowhere. We talk about, let's repair it. But you're finna put 70 million into this mission. 600 million in Illinois alone. 275 million more. This year counted 150 million. My HMIS number is 355061. How did y'all drop the ball for so many years on one individual? But y'all coming to budget and finance, and y'all coming to budget and finance the demise of black Chicagoans here. That's what y'all budgeting and financing. Y'all whittling us out, and y'all doing it in such a gracious fashion. Y'all representing us as y'all do it. This what y'all doing.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Peay Easley.
Good afternoon to the city of Chicago. I am P. Ray of the 37th Ward. Chicago Red is our organization. Because we started this session with a prayer, I want to start my comment with a scripture. 1 Timothy 5:8 says, "But if any provide not for his own, and specifically for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel." So I want to talk to y'all today about not going to hell. In the 37th Ward, there was a family, the Jones family. Amarie Jones was standing in her family building that they've owned for 40 years doing a TikTok dance with her mother. A bullet came through the window, hit her in the neck. She fell to the ground in front of her mother and bled to death. A month ago, on the Chicago mugshot page, her mother was on that page. Her mother had on her daughter's Rest in Peace t-shirt. She washed it so many times that it was completely faded out. She was completely high, out of her mind, and the charge was possession. Now, the first $51 million that this council gave to the migrants came from the opioid settlement funds. I am here on behalf of the Jones family, on behalf of the 37th Ward, on behalf of Black Chicago, on behalf of the entire city, to ask you all to vote no and put that money back in the opioid settlement fund. We need that money in my neighborhood. We need that on my block. That woman should not be at Cook County Jail because she's grieving over a random act of violence that caused her to lose her child in front of her face, when the city of Chicago has millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to give to people who ain't paid a dime into the tax base. We've been in my building for 52 years. We're about to pay some more taxes. The Jones family has been in their building for 45 years, paying taxes every year on time. So I'm asking y'all to use our tax money for our people. We need it. We got people leaning, we got people rocking, we got overdosing, we got pass out lines. You live on the west side, Mayor Johnson, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We need the money for us. We need opioid treatment on the west side of Chicago. We are the headquarters of the cartel, and everybody in here knows it. They selling more drugs than the law can allow, and y'all giving money back to them because they traffic those people up here, so we paying them going and coming. Absolutely not. We pay too much. It costs too much money to live in this city. Help Wanda Jones. Help every other grieving mother who feels like she has to go get high to get over the loss of her child. This is a woman who lived in that house. She still sleeps in that living room where her daughter passed out and bled to death. So I'm asking y'all to say no, put these people on the back burner, and put the money back in the opioid fund. We need that money. Thank y'all.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your comments, Ms. Easley. The next speaker is Mr. Denzel Dillard. The next speaker is Mr. Denzel Dillard.
Yes, how you doing there, Mayor?
Good afternoon.
I come here for a different perspective. I come here to give you praise. I hope to soften the blow here. I think I've been sent here, you know, after being evicted, after all the turmoil that I'm going through. I'm here to say thank you. I think you're doing a great job, you know, despite the disparities that's going on within our communities. You know, shucks, I don't care what mayor was here, it wouldn't be done. But more importantly, I'm here to let you know that I'm a struggling young man. I've always, at your tenure, wanted to work for your administration. You know, my goal is to get hired. I believe in your mission. I believe in the hope of the city. And then I see where your administration is going. I want to be a part of the process. Even if I do not work for your administration or hope to be hired for some job for the city. And one of the reasons that I thank the Lord that I'm here, because a lot of people don't think that I'll be hired. They think that I won't be helped by you. They think that things can't happen, you know, to good people. I believe in you. I believe. And my goal is hopefully to work for your administration or for the city, and hopefully to even soften the blow. Because I see so much here. I almost want to pray for this environment, because I do not let anyone steer me wrong just like you do. You know, no matter with the bickering and the hollering, because I adore and I appreciate this whole administration, this whole body here, even the people, even that's behind me. Okay, kiss it. And just like this, I want to be an asset to the city and to your administration, or to some part working inside the administration. I just want to thank you, and I just want to say this very briefly. Lord, I want to thank you for this moment that you gave us. Lord, I want you to continue to bless our city. Lord, bless the people that surround us, Lord. Give them what they need, Lord. Calm their spirit, Lord. You've been ever so gracious, Lord. I want to thank you for what you're doing, for what you've done, and the thing that's going to be down and bestowed over our life, and this city will be greater with our help and assistance. I thank you in Jesus' name, amen. Love you, Mayor.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Dillard. The next speaker is Ms. Jessica Jackson.
So, Christmas is coming early this year. We're going to check that list when it go up on that wall for voting, and we're going to check it twice. And we're going to find out who's been naughty or nice based on how y'all vote. And we're going to start it off with Maria Haddon. Yeah.
Chicago and some communities so angry? Why is all this kind of anti-immigrant sentiment coming up? And I want to explain to folks, it's because if we cared as much about black people and had over the decades as we do about everyone else, we wouldn't be here. But the money from a 2020.
All right. That would be Maria Haddon. Stepping out there, I see you. Don't get sarcastic because we can get jiggy, right? You set up here for that first 51 million talking about how you feel about black people and how you have to have the same energy for black people, and you ain't never stood on this floor talking about money for black people. You get on this floor and talk about black and brown because you somewhere in the middle with it, right? But I'll tell you this, and I'm telling every other black alderman in here today, you vote for the money for these immigrants today, and we coming for them seats. You can believe that. You're going to stop pimping the black people's plight to get brown people, as y'all call it, money. You're going to give us our press conference up there on the 3rd floor, keep talking to the mayor's boy with the clink clink from his past. That's why he got to do what the mayor say do. Him and a lot of other ones in here with these shady pasts. That's why you got to vote the way that you vote. But all of us ain't got shady passes. Some of us free out here, and we can vote how we want to vote, and we coming for those seats. Now, to align yourself with somebody who's obviously a one-term mayor, if he even makes it that far, you better be worrying about your job. You better be worrying about your longevity, because we're going to vote, and we're going to get you out, because you ain't doing right by us. That's what time it is. And for your law person that's next to you, I'm going to need you to check out that federal charge that I got against those public administrators over there for messing with black people's property. It's federal case number 23CV14590. All right? And on that note, if y'all don't give us our money for the black community, know this, we getting ready to file a federal injunction against City Hall for benign neglect to the south side and west side. You got that? Boom.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Jackson. The next speaker is Ms. Sarah Thomas-Lena.
Hello, my name is Sarah Tomas-Lemna, and I'm a community organizer with Asian Americans Advancing Justice Chicago, and I live in the 5th Ward. I'm calling on City Council to approve $70 million in funding to support new arrivals until the end of the year. Asian Americans Advancing Justice Chicago has been working on mutual aid with new arrivals across the city for over a year now. In addition, we have been part of the Bring Chicago Home campaign and Stop Shot Spotter Coalition, as well as have advocated for long-term solutions like treatment, not trauma. The common thread in what you have heard today is our anger in a broken system that we must reimagine together. It's the system that maintained generational disinvestment in communities of color across Chicago. And this is what prevents our city, one of the richest cities in the world, from paying a little bit more into the public safety net system while schools and mental health clinics shut down in our communities. Food prices, rent, and childcare costs rise, and thousands of our neighbors continue to sleep on the streets. The common thread here is systemic racism, and these disinvestments have kept communities of color down for generations. This systemic racism has also blocked any positive action on immigration from Congress for almost 40 years. Immigrants are simply not a priority in the federal system. And so I want to speak today to urge you to vote on Friday for $70 million which will be pulled from city reserves, not from any sort of funding to support individuals impacted by the opioid epidemic. In addition to those $70 million, we also need to start thinking about long-term solutions to fund affordable housing and economic development that will benefit all Chicagoans. So on Friday, this council will have that opportunity, and I urge you to vote yes to borrow $1.25 million over the next 5 years and to make economic security a reality for more of our neighbors. In addition, I would like to urge council to vote against the order that calls for alders to be able to choose whether to remove ShotSpotter technology on a ward-by-ward basis, and also calls for any decisions related to violence prevention funding to be brought to the Public Safety Committee and to a full City Council vote. We reject the intention and the outcomes of this order and support Mayor Brandon Johnson's decision to cancel the contract with ShotSpotter citywide. Chicago has long been a welcoming city, and we are committed to ensuring that it remains that way. We are facing a challenging moment, but it's nothing we haven't faced before. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Thomas-Lena. The next speaker is Mr. George Blakemore.
The problem is racism. I guess you can hear me. The problem is racism. This is worse than Communist China. All these people sitting here, they're a member of one party, the Democratic machine. These black ones do not have our interests. They work for the master. These big-headed white men run this system. Man, they run it. And I was looking around and said, well, how many white women do they have here? You know, during suffrage, the white woman didn't like that because she couldn't vote and she was like a subject to a big-headed white man. So looking here, I don't see many white women here. I one or two. So the problem here in Chicago is racism, nepotism, corruption, a one-party system. These big-headed white men run this. This big-headed man doesn't run this. Okay. These black ones, they don't have no power. Who slates them? Corporate America. Who runs corporate America? These big-headed white men. Now, you can be in denial. Now, look at you over there, passing right here. Look at that while I'm talking. Young lady, sit down. Sit down. Tell her to sit down. Tell her to sit down. So, wait a minute. You don't like this? I'm going to tell you, I'm educating you, I'm informing you, I'm enlightening you. These big-headed white people that enslaved us brought us here. Now they're giving money to another people. Are they nappy, hair, big nose, thick lip, and a black booty hole like mine? No, they're not. And they're giving millions and millions of dollars to them. Can't you see how arrogant she is? When I told her to be seated, she's going to stand up and go, you work for us.
Mr. Blakemore, please stay in the microphone so we can hear you, sir. Thank you.
Something is mighty wrong here, sir. We are still on the white man's plantation, and I urge black people to be selfish. Are selfish people. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. focus on you. They're giving millions. They're showing you better than they can tell you. They're showing you by giving. They're not giving no money to them. These big-haired white men. We're still on the plantation.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Blakemore. Your time has expired. Your Honor, there are no further speakers for public comments.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Blakemore, thank you. I need you all to stop shouting. This is now your second warning. I'm doing my best to remain patient. We appreciate you participating in democracy, but I would ask that you also display some decorum. Thank you. All right, resolution.
Jackie Brown.
All right, it ain't your turn now. First, giving honor to God, who's the head of my life, I want to thank all the ex-aldermen, House good lady Dorothy Tillman for being here, legendary Dorothy Jean Tillman. And I want to get on this. As far as the city, this should not be a sanctuary city because of the simple fact we have less hot months than we do any days. So why would you not vote for this now to be a non-sanctuary city? And then second of all, Alderman Bill, I give you credit. Alderman Lopez, my alderman is not here, which is Emma Mitz. You guys really talked about that money when they gave out the $41 million. We were here that day. Now, Brandon Johnson, you have to answer to the citizens of Chicago because come election time, I would not knock on doors for you or pass out your literature because you have not did a good job as the mayor because you have let us citizens down as citizens. You did not, the teachers are asking for money. Why not give them the money when you gave it to the immigrants? You took away the Section 8 and you gave it to them. Now you want to build every building you want that's down. You want to rebuild it to give them housing when we have over 65,000 homeless people here already in the city of Chicago. So it's not that you can't help your people here. You're not helping them here. And my thing is, you put them in all the impoverished community, but they cannot vote when you remember that. They cannot vote for you. They cannot vote. Give us our 40 acres and our mule because we paid the price for us to be here. They should not come here and get what we already worked for. My thing is, I thought you was the HNIC in this house, but you don't act like it. I'm just going to put it out there for you. Because you're not doing right for the people of Chicago. You have let us down. You selling all our buildings for profit. What's going to happen? They great grandkids going to have the money to come in. They already sold our parking meters. How can we we trust y'all now?
Don't trust them.
You say let us put you back in office. For what? I live in a community in Emma Mitz where we got more auto parts places where an ordinance was put in, and they're still coming in by the dozen, and our whole neighborhood look like a junkyard over there. And we're paying property tax, and then you got to have permits to park on city parking streets where you already paying parking taxes. Who came up with that idea? No, it was put in place before then. But why should that should be abolished? That should be abolished. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker. Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Zoe Lee.
Good afternoon. Mayor Johnson, last year, when I was protesting outside and Jessica Jackson and George Blakemore pushed me to come in here to go on this mic, I asked you, could you please look into my mother's case? Can you please look into what's going on and let you know that the overall issue is they're stealing black people's property? I also told you that I was living in Georgia at the time, well, I lived in Atlanta when Georgia flipped blue. And I said that if no one doesn't help me settle this case with my mom, I will do exactly what Georgia did, flip this state red. I asked you for a year. I've written into you too, Mary Richardson Lowry, and I asked y'all to please settle my family's case. And it didn't happen. You blocked, I went through every obstacle course in here for y'all to try to block us. Y'all don't care about the U.S. Constitution at all. Y'all don't care about it at all. But I beat every obstacle, including getting arrested down here for my freedom, violating for my First Amendment right. The city of Chicago is the most corrupt city on the planet, and it's run by a Democratic machine. And you guys have been doing this for decades. You guys have been taking our generational wealth. The blacks helping as well. And it's going to stop because Trump is getting in office. And the first thing that's going to happen is the Department of Justice is going to come here. You don't know how to govern. You don't. Okay, an organizer and being in politics, two different things, my boy. So I'm letting you know right now, audits are going to happen. Audits. We're going to audit everything from CPS, CTU. It's going to be a lot of audits going on because that's the problem. People have been stealing for a long time, and we $1 billion in debt. How dare you try to make this Detroit? How dare you try to make this Detroit and then try to blame it on Trump? Nah, that's you, because you don't know how to govern. Y'all, you're going down as the worst mayor on earth, and y'all are going down as a disgraced 50. Peace.
Our next speaker is Michael Young Bay.
I don't even want to show my face as the disgrace up in here. On the real. You know, we all been coming down here as previous speaker that spoke and been violated our constitutional right to freedom of speech, and it's been done by aldermen. It's also been tactics done by your administration. You told a person, and I have the video, I just ain't put it out. You told a person that you fixed the crisis. You fixed the crisis. You ain't fixed nothing. Talking about buses ain't coming in, etc. Buses was coming in after December. And then y'all moved to the trains. And then y'all moved to the planes. And now they got automobiles. You know what I'm saying? So we've been going through a lot. You know what I'm saying? It take a lot of courage to get up here and for a person of my stature and say they homeless. You know what I'm saying? Like real talk. Y'all see me come up in here clean, etc. No matter what. I've been fighting. I done gave the mayor and I said that a hard drive, etc. You know, showing how these shelters did us, showing us how nasty they did. But y'all putting them, you making sure they get that money and putting in 5-star hotels. You ignorant. You's a fool. Yes, you is. And I stand on that, even to my death. Because you have been a shame and an embarrassment. And I know firsthand because I'm actually living it. I ain't here to criticize or just call somebody no name or whatever just to look down on nobody. No, man. When she told you that in that council meeting, Sister Dora, you was a disgrace. And that's why they speaking on you like that. That's why we flipping red. We in here with red backpack. Shit, we trying to make the police go red. We're on the real. We finna change the uniform. We ain't playing. Flip red. We've been screaming on that, and amen to that. That's truth. That's how we speaking to power. That's how we know. Just like 45, when he was 45, we stayed alive. Even through the pandemic, we stayed alive at 45. And now at 47, we screaming down from the heavens, flip red. Go red! Go red! Go red! We up in here for real. We ain't playing no games. We ain't playing no games. We watching the budget. We watching everything. We ain't no uneducated people. You know what I'm saying? Despite our disparity, despite people trying to take our property, despite the homeless, despite the misuse, the misconduct, etc., towards the citizens, we speaking up as brave men and women for this country, for this nation, for Chicago. So I want every gang member, no matter what you want to vote, fight for, whatever, etc., I want y'all to line them poles up. We flipping red. We flipping red. That's what it is. That's what we're about. And we're about truth and love. And you ain't showed that. You're a disgrace. Peace to the people.
Our next speaker is John Kazera, Jr.
Just want to remind people, before the next speaker don't start his time, just want to remind people that your First Amendment right will always be protected, but we ask that you refrain from using vulgarity. You may commence.
Vulgarity. All right, I'll try my best, I promise. Let's start with Go Red. Go Red! So, I take exception, because I was the one wearing a Trump jersey here when it wasn't fashionable 6 years ago, and I got mocked for it. So I'm glad people are finally starting to wake up to how bad this democratically ran city has been and how much worse you've made it. Sad but true. When I didn't think it could get worse under that little tyrant, you've definitely doubled down and said, hold my beer. But it's the best friggin' city in America. Great, with a smile. Onward to the rest of you, because when I was here last month, there were some people in this room that should know but don't know. There is a 10-year-old lawsuit for a federally protected statute, FLSA, for overtime worked by police officers all the way back to 2014 when this city became a deadbeat and refused to pay them at that federal standard, period, instead of the lower Chicago police contract overtime. It is literally, since you're in budget season, a $200 million bill that you have to pay, and it has a court-ordered 5% interest rate. And for the chairman of the budget committee last meeting to tell me first he's hearing of it, and I guarantee he's not the only chairman, I don't mean to point him out, but there's a lot of chairmen involved in this. I'm sure Chairman Dow, you have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm sure Corporation Counsel, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Your predecessor actually sent an email to the outside law firm saying, don't include us in these emails anymore. We don't need any updates. You take care of this. Literally, you're a deadbeat. Pay the officers the money they're owed, $200 million that is collecting interest every single day, and by the stunned look on your face, you apparently have no idea either, which I'm not surprised. Again, start waking up to the reality of Chicago and quit trying to make friends everywhere else. Number two, COPA. You literally have not only somebody who hates the police in your administration, but you have somebody working at COPA that should get the same treatment that she's given our officers for the 2+ years she's been in charge. She should be on paid administrative leave, effective immediately. She should not be able to run that agency while investigation is going on at the Inspector General's office. That should be fair. And if you are supposedly fair, this body will take action to put her in a paid administrative leave. Lastly, I'll tell you this. Alderwoman Harrison said something to the effect, when it comes to CPS, that we've been doing the same thing for decades. We need to blow the system up and do it right. If you give him his way, taxes are going up for everybody. I challenge you all to consider the fact and champion down in Springfield that teachers should be treated just like police and fire. They shouldn't have the ability to strike. They should have to go to interest arbitration to get their contracts upheld, because it is a public safety issue every time they threaten to strike and walk out. It is upheaval in this city, and enough is enough. They can get interest arbitration. If it's good enough for police and fire, it should be good enough for them, and it will basically cut the legs out from underneath him, what he's trying to do.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Danielle Carter.
10 worst schools in Illinois are all
Hello. So, what we refer to you all as gated community politicians. You all are so out of touch with reality, and the citizens of Chicago and America is crazy. And I'm gonna call it the Democrat Party. Y'all so out of touch. Y'all don't understand that But you all, I don't know if y'all don't understand, but y'all don't see it. America is coming together, and Chicago is coming together. Black, white, it don't matter. Because, see, we see a common threat. And you all are a common threat to America and Chicago. How dare you sit up there and go on TV and say Chicago people are dope when you talking about how you handled the migrant crisis, illegal crisis, when they all in my neighborhood. Now, I can't go across the street and do a simple workout. I'm a trainer. I'm trying to educate the citizens of Chicago, help dads be in the homes, educate them about health, fitness, how it is, and to be healthy with your kids. Eat healthy, work out, do something for the community, and I got to go through all these permits, all these hoops, everything. I got insurance to go in the park. But then I see illegals down the street from my house with a whole entire restaurant. I thought I was looking at Donald Trump when he was at McDonald's. They sit up there and had generators on the street, on the sidewalk, generators. And they had a fry machine taking the basket out the oil, putting it on the side. And not only that, they had tables and booths set up, like a whole restaurant outside. I just sit there, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Trays, putting the french fries in, all the smoke in out here, and they serving the people with aprons on, outside. Now my taxes done went up. Now they not putting nothing into it. My husband is a retired police. He gave 28 years to this. And now you're going to sit there and talk about we dope and we okay. No, we're not okay with that. We tried to tell you that. Sanctuary cities, we didn't want it, but you blocked that. You all don't believe in democracy. Democracy is out the door. You all believe in dictatorship. But that's okay, because like I said, when Trump, we all for Trump. And he's demolishing these sanctuary cities because that's what the American citizens want. See, he listened to the people, and that's what the people want. So you all sit up there and think it's cool, but remember, the same thing make y'all laugh is going to make y'all cry. Listen, we put you all in office to advocate for us. All these illegals in our neighborhood, and y'all it's funny now. Yeah, okay, displacing us, it's cool.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Jod Weeder.
Good morning, Mayor Johnson and Chicago City Council. Thank you for your time today and interest. I am speaking today on behalf of Chicago Alliance for Animals, more than 3,000 members and millions more who want to see fur banned. For those of you who may not be aware, this issue goes way beyond the fact that beautiful wild animals are trapped in wire cages in all extremes of temperatures and weather, only to be electrocuted, to have their fur, to be skinned for their fur. So I appreciate the 21, last count, 21 co-sponsors of this bill, and I hope more of you will co-sponsor. I want to read a quick press release from the Coalition to Abolish the Fur Trade USA. Chicago's Fashion Week's leadership in responsible fashion, we hope, inspires other fashion weeks to follow suit in promoting compassion and innovation in the industry. Fashion events have a significant influence on industry standards. Chicago's Fashion Week's bold decision to adopt a fur-free policy reflects the growing consumer demand for more ethical fashion. The announcement is indicative of a larger shift in the fashion landscape as it follows several major brands, including Mcnamara and Marc Jacobs, that have recently announced fur-free policies. The use of fur is increasingly viewed as outdated and cruel, and designers still clinging to these practices will face mounting pressure from advocates and consumers alike. The Coalition to Abolish the Fur Trade will continue its efforts to promote ethical practices across the industry, emphasizing that consumer expectations are shifting and that brands must adapt to this new reality. Chicago Fashion Week's decision is a pivotal moment, and both CAFT and ARC will remain engaged in advocating for a compassionate fashion future. So the fact that Chicago's Fashion Week went fur-free and will remain for free is huge. And so we are hoping that Those of you who have not yet co-sponsored 02023-2983 will co-sponsor, we'll get it on the license agenda and pass it as soon as possible. Because like I said, it goes beyond more than the humane aspect. It's a real danger to our health. And in this world of COVID, when we put all of these wild animals in extreme confinement, that's when viruses arrive. And viruses can jump from animals to humans. And there have been multiple examples of fur farms having these issues where all the animals have to be culled to prevent viruses from getting to us. So it's also a public safety issue. So thank you for your time, and I hope you will pass this humane measure and common sense measure soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Toan Sims.
Can you record this for me? Thank you, sir. Good man. 484, well, when y'all ready, 484 million that Pedro Martinez proposed shouldn't take a hike, shouldn't even move nowhere. The $1 billion that y'all put on Black American children heads, you said something at a meeting recently. What you say to what's official about a black man or something official, because them women in the background were screaming at you about official. But I noticed how you use your blackness, but it was a statement that you made that exposed you. You said brown and black. If I was I'm a black man. I'm Black American, 44 years. When I think towards my nation. I'm not selfish in that sense because I speak for the people. I wish we had a leader like that, a representative, a mayor for the Black American people though. $1 billion. That was, what was that supposed to go? Was we supposed to just focus on the budget and then y'all just whittle that up under us once again? Or did it come with the save the streets? Was that the Friday thing that y'all did, but you have not said anything no more? He slept in the street. He slept, it was gunshots around him. But you could care less about the citizens here, the residents. And I'm sure that by the treatment with the kids, y'all won't get away with it. 484 million. And he want to take that out of the TIF. But you got your criminal friend, Cjo Lopez, over there trying to get a TIF going, right? Y'all did everything for the illegals while y'all stomped us down. And look, when he taking that 484 million, understand that it's out of the TIF. So that's out of the wards. And those wards that's going to get hit are Inglewood, Austin, South Shore, right? Because y'all not taking nothing from nobody else because y'all building up Gage Park, Pilsen, and Little Village, right? But forget Black Americans. But I am telling y'all, Jack, it don't work no more. It's over with. This Democratic Party, y'all did it. Y'all sunk y'all ship. Rats jump ship. That's why the school board jumped ship. When they feel that lull, they jump ship. All of them. And then, look, they start descending on each other, too. So we noticed that how y'all fed Pedro to the wolves. Nobody showed up for him. Not the newly elected board, not this previous board. And y'all hit them with the budget, because we needed to hear that. And thank William for bringing up the realness that y'all try to right up underneath us, because y'all don't believe in the residency in Chicago. You done, Jack, black man. And I don't attack black people, but you have utilized that coveted, that sublimated racism that you harbor, that self-loathing that you harbor in you. Rick Bayless is a great cook, but there are other great Black American cooks in the city that you could have celebrated through to give them highlight. You are what he called you, a disgrace to your nation, to your city. You are not the representation that we thought you would be in your intellect.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Trealak O'Sullivan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Trealak O'Sullivan, housing organizer with Palenque LSNA, the predominant group representing Latinos on the northwest side of Chicago. It makes me sad to hear the genuine discontent of people living in communities that have been screwed by this city and this country for decades, going back to the founding, but then for that to be channeled into the people at the very root of the problem, like Donald J. Trump. But that's not why I'm here. I came to say thank you to the alders, and especially thank you to Mayor Brandon Johnson for the leadership in a difficult time. There are a majority of progressives in this city. Hang on, can I speak? I'd like to remind us it's no fluke that this man's elected. And we look back to the previous election, who we thought we were getting a progressive. We thought we were electing a progressive too. It's a majority. We may not be the loudest, but we are here. He's probably got the hardest job in town. He has to sit up here and listen to this, and there's so much. So while nothing can be perfect, you're dealing with a city that's been mismanaged for decades and decades. And I want to say thank you because we see you trying. And there's also been victories. We on the northwest side of Chicago have an ordinance for balanced development. And we've also seen efforts for economic development in the city as a whole. We're finally breaking the pattern of free handouts to millionaires like Lincoln Yards. And what instead is being done is using the bond fund to actually develop the communities that badly need it. When we think of the misinformation and the scare tactics that money interests use, I got to come back to history for a second, because some people think we can forget history. When you look at the racial apartheid this country was founded on, when you look at how groups in this city were able to build wealth in a similar manner with modernized tactics like redlining, restrictive covenants, predatory lending, that is not easy to fix. You cannot put a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. It takes a fight. It takes courage. And Mayor Brandon Johnson is actually doing that. I want to talk briefly about our ordinance, the Northwest Preservation Ordinance, which has made it harder for developers to deconvert the 2 to 4 flat naturally occurring affordable housing in our communities. When you talk about historic affordable housing, people who knock it down, they put a luxury single-family home, pushing out the people that built this city and deserve to live in this city. We are making it harder. From a supply and demand perspective and from an affordable housing perspective, we are keeping the people in our community, keeping it affordable. So we've seen an outpouring of support for this policy. It has people over the moneyed interests. 1,000 people signed on who actually live in the community, unlike the other aldermanic prerogative. I'm not trying to be a hater. 60 CBOs signed on to this organization. But there are special interest critics in the real estate community who have the audacity to call this a new form of redlining. And if you believe them, I feel very sorry for you. It's going to take longer than 3 minutes to tell you how it is. It takes courage to stand with the moral high ground against these special interests, money, and power, and Brandon Johnson is doing this. We know you're trying to achieve something in this city. It takes a long time, so we appreciate you. We see you. That's why you're in office. We're prepared to go to bat for you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker this afternoon is Jessica Jackson.
We're going to excuse the youngin'. He just don't know no better. All right? Okay. Anyway, how you doing, Mayor Brandon Johnson? You all right? Okay, good. I'm going to let him learn what time it really is with you. Okay? All right. Now, I've been coming here for a year, talking about my mother's estate, asking you for over a year to clear this issue with my mother's estate. I came here talking about how the probate process steals black people's property with the help of the Public Administration Office. I came here saying that the judges were part of it and that the public administrator, not even name names. You've had ample opportunity to help me, and you did not. And you know you did not. So I don't know why you pay people to come here to act like you own it for the city and for the citizens, because you're not. You're running the city to the ground. We've asked you over and over again to stop with the spending. We've told your cronies to stop with the spending. They won't stop you. They're letting you run ragged in here. They're letting you run the city through the ground. They won't stop you. So because of that, you've given us no choice. We got to go to the federal level. We got to go to Donald J. Trump, because he's made it clear what he's going to do. See, I got to have some help. I got to have some help. I can't let you and Cook County and the city take what my mother worked for and left for her children just because you feel like it, just because the Democratic Party think they all that, like they untouchables. This is America. You bringing these people over here that's from socialist countries and all this and that, and y'all think y'all gonna run that here. Black America said, no, you not. The true white Americans are saying, no, you not. The true Latino, the true Asians are saying, no, you not. I'm telling you, Brandon Johnson, from my heart to yours,
Trump 2024. No more blue, no matter who. Donald J. Trump. Trump 2024. He gonna stop the bleeding, he gonna deal with this sanctuary city, and he gonna help us get you out, and he gonna get you anybody out who roll with you, who think they gonna tear up Chicago, y'all getting out too. This is our city. You can sit there, think like you acting like you ain't paying attention, acting like it don't apply to you. Oh, yes, it does. You ain't untouchable either, Silverstein. We coming for anybody who ain't about Chicago. You got that? Trump 2024, big baby.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is George Blakemore.
You have a moment to settle a score or divide a people or just get to the bottom of it. But you, Brandon Johnson, have ignored every plea, call, cry that I or any individual have come in this room and made. I called about my child, 23D79597. Yasuke Roosevelt Sims told you about the attack that's been taking place. I came in here and told you that I'm homeless. My HMIS number is 355061. I came in here. But I came in here because I wanted my life back. And lo and behold, wow, the answers that I've gotten. But you, sir, said also the other day that the presidency or Trump disrupts black Americans. It doesn't. You disrupt black Americans. Your workforce development scheme with Michael David Rodriguez, your immigration scheme with Vasquez, and your housing scheme with Cjo Lopez. You a criminal. You should be investigated by the IG, who I was glad who was in here the day that Maria Haddon was in here, the gangster girl who ran me up out of my neighborhood. I've been shot 5 times, 6 times. I've been persecuted, followed over a case, 22CV 5691 that was in the Northern District. This took place in 2020. July 22nd. I told him about a young man named Brian Carrion who was murdered in the street, chased around like as if he was a Ahmaud Arbery. I told y'all so much, but I know it's a gangster in this room, a criminal, one that thinks that he is above the law, that he can dictate the law. Mr. Catanzara, the man who argued with you because y'all want to be relevant. But I'm telling you, the people in the city of Chicago need good representation. They need a representation that don't lean towards corruption. They need a representation that don't use people because they think they can. And you and them people over there, y'all that. I've been running from cowards that want to show me as a weak man. I'm not a weak man. My child, Ian Walter Oba Sims, I want to be back with him. Y'all put an order of protection. All of these papers is the ways that y'all have tried to what? Criminalize me, villainize me, all the ignoring of it. Cornerstone, Miss Clay. This is a room full of criminals, y'all. This is a room full of criminals, and they don't want this man up here. Because I don't look, y'all can bird dog me all y'all want, but if it's relationship over duty, then y'all don't serve the blue, and y'all don't pledge the oath. Y'all pledge to serve us, not Cotton Zara, not a personal interest, but y'all do. And you can smirk all you want.
Mr. Sims, direct your attention towards me, please.
You're a criminal. Why do I got to address you? The feds need to address you. DOJ need to address you, and hopefully Donald Trump will address you. Because you're going to protect the undocumented. Why you going to allow for the citizens in Chicago to suffer under your, 33%? You and Cjo Lopez cooked that 3% up a long time ago. Y'all called it a circuit breaker. Y'all been talked about it. Remember, before you came in here and gave that jovial speech, you need to be inspected. You and that creep over there.
Mr. Clerk, would you take a moment here? We have the former alder of the 40th Ward, 1979 and 1983, Mr. Ivan Rittenberg. Thank you, Alderman, for joining us today. Can you all just please give a quick acknowledgement to the Alderman? Thank you very much. Thank you for that salute there. Please, Mr. Clerk, please continue with our public speakers.
Our next speaker this afternoon is Dan Mcnamara.
Sergeant at Arms, please restore order, please. All right, please.
You gonna address him, and they gonna address you, motherfucker. Y'all want me to look these people on me and crazy. I'm crazy already. Y'all took me away from my child. My fat ass is dead.
Thank you.
I'm gonna look at the motherfucker. Fuck you. Fuck you, Dr. Zama. You fucking dog. Fuck out of here. Y'all looking for coward. I'm not a fucking coward. I'm sorry, the Lord Jesus Christ. You motherfuckers. Fuck y'all. Y'all gonna never have me look like a fucking coward. Come show me a coward. Come show me. Come show me.
Mr. To our Sergeant at Arms, could you all please make sure that this gentleman is removed? Thank you. Just okay, just patient, you all. They're handling it. It's all right. Thank you. Please continue to move Mr. Sims out of the chamber. Thank you, Sergeant at Arms, for restoring order. Mr. Clerk, could you please continue with our public speakers?
Our next speaker this afternoon is Dan Mcnamara.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name is Dan Mcnamara, Mayor Johnson, City Council. The reason for my being here
Excuse
today...
me for a second. Listen, please. Do not want to cast any judgment on Mr. Sims, but we are fully aware of that disruption and what happened there. I would kindly and respectfully ask that this body and those that are here to observe government to come back to order and allow the police and anyone else who can help address that situation and bring it under control. In the meantime, order has been restored. Dan, you may begin again.
Okay. My name is Dan Mcnamara. I've been a citizen of the city since 1979. My purpose in being here today was I was hoping to begin a dialogue about a strategy that could effectively put over $100 million back in the city budget without cutting costs, services, or employees, and without raising taxes. Mayor, on September 24th, I sent a letter to your office, and with your permission, I'll just read a portion of the letter, and it might explain why I'm here. It says, Honorable Mayor Johnson, I'm writing you about the urgent matter facing your administration in the City of Chicago budget. There is considerable stress in the news recently about looming deficits, both operational and legacy. If there was a way to restore over $100 million annually to the city coffers without cutting services or raising taxes, how would you prefer to learn about it? In the simplest terms, the city can achieve $2,500 to $7,500 per employee reduction per year in quantifiable healthcare cost reductions. By the way, the unions, many of them, are already on board with this kind of strategy. But here's the catch. It takes a certain amount of backbone to get these kinds of initiatives past the entrenched status quo. While Mayor Lightfoot initially showed enthusiasm for this, nearly all of the lower level administrators dropped the ball and failed to follow through on even giving this course of action a proper vetting. I'm hoping that now your administration is up to the task. And then it goes on to ask that you have your budget director or CFO get a hold of me to further this discussion. First of all, I'd just like to confirm that you got this letter, and do you recall reading it? I don't know if I'm allowed to ask questions or not. If so, what will it take to begin a discussion about this kind of initiative in your administration? So the thing that I'm hoping for is to get some eyes and ears looking at this as a possible strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker this afternoon is Jessica Jackson.
What you just saw with Sims is where you want all of us to be. You want all of us to be stock rate out our minds. You want us to feel pressed against the wall. You want us to feel helpless. You want us to feel hopeless. You want to see us turn on one another. But there's some real ones out here. And we're going to stick together. But when it comes to people like you, Brandon Johnson, black people like you, who sit up here and think you're going to bully us, that's why everybody coming after you now. Including Kwame Raoul. But we going to come for him. Because he ain't doing what he's supposed to do. He's not helping us the way he's supposed to help us. You want to sit here and watch us be aggravated like that. You, that lady next to you, what is it, Mary Richardson, Lori, her too, not doing her job. You too, not doing your job. Acting like, you just gonna bully everybody. You got people, officers whose families don't even want you to come to the funeral. You just like a schoolyard bully. That at some point, and you might not know nothing about it because you grew up in Elgin, but those of us who grew up on the south side and west side of Chicago, we all know that at some point that bully gets cornered in the alley and everybody come at him. And he ain't gonna have nobody to help him. That's you. That's you. Keep thinking you ain't gonna abide by what the President of the United States said. Everybody know better than that. I see you, Anna Valencia, in your red. You know what it is. This is the second time you showed up in City Council in red. You know what it is? Yeah. Yeah. So you and the rest of them that know what time it is, y'all come on. You leave that loser where he is. He's a loser. He's a loser. No, me and Zoe, we ain't doing nothing for nobody except for ourselves. We got you, loser.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Jod Weeder.
Good afternoon, Mayor Johnson and Chicago City Council. I know that today's meeting is focused on the city's budget, but if a pandemic hits our city or the country, Chicago will have even bigger financial worries. That's why I'm urging you to please support, co-sponsor, and pass O-2023-2983, the humane measure to ban the sale of new fur in Chicago. Here is another excerpt from another scientific journal article about these serious threats dated September 8, 2024. A recent study has identified 125 viruses circulating in animals from fur farms in China, raising concerns about the potential spillover into human populations. Led by Chinese researchers and co-authored by virologist Edward Holmes, the study emphasizes the urgent need for enhanced virus monitoring. Among the viruses discovered, 36 were previously unknown and 39 were deemed high risk for crossing species barriers, possibly infecting humans. Published in Nature, the research spanned from 2021 to 2024, examining 461 animals, primarily minks, foxes, raccoon dogs, rabbits, and muskrats from fur farms, with some from the food and traditional medicine industries. Around 50 wild animals were also included. The viruses detected included hepatitis E, Japanese encephalitis, and 13 newly identified ones, underscoring fur farms as potential hubs for virus transmission. Holmes and other experts stressed that without proactive measures, fur farms could spark the next global outbreak. Holmes warned the fur farming trade could easily lead to another pandemic virus. Scientists are urging global governments to take the warning seriously and implement policies to mitigate the risks posed by fur farming, end quote. So banning the fur in the second city won't stop pandemics, but we will be doing our part as a progressive city to end the immense suffering of beautiful wild animals and prevent the real risks of dangerous viruses jumping from wild animals who are tightly confined and languishing in filthy, disease-ridden cages to humans. Thank you very much for your time and consideration today, and I hope that this common sense ordinance advances and passes very soon. And I hope you all have a safe and happy holiday with your loved ones. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Tyler Cruz.
Good afternoon, City Council. I'm a concerned citizen who's in his mid to late 30s, working in finance, and I've called Illinois home for my entire life. I grew up in the suburbs, went to school down in Champaign, and I've called Chicago's North Side my home for the last 15 years in the 2nd Ward, Mr. Hopkins. I'm married with no kids yet and one dog, and we are property owners. We bought our home in 2021 when everyone else was flocking from the city, and it's sad to say that I used to be proud of calling myself a Chicagoan. Despite being a white male, I did not vote for Donald Trump, and I did not grow up privileged. My mother was a school nurse, and my father worked in the trades. I had to get a full-ride scholarship to college in order to pay for my education. I'm devastated to see what has unfolded over the last 18 months under the current mayor. We are living in a kleptocracy. As we stand at a critical juncture in Chicago's future, it is essential that we hold our leaders accountable and address the pressing issues that affect every single resident of this city, not just the unions and not just the new arrivals, as the mayor refers to them. Today, I'm here to express serious concerns about Mayor Brandon Johnson's leadership and the direction that he is taking Chicago. Under Mayor Johnson's leadership, Chicago's pension crisis has only deepened. We have over $30 billion of unfunded pension liabilities. Our city is facing a financial burden that threatens to cripple future generations. The pension obligations are destroying the city and squeezing people out of the city, and yet nothing has changed. Chicago's pension debt has soared by over $2 billion in the last year. 1 week ago, the mayor tweeted that the budget we unveiled today is furthering our investment towards a better, stronger, and safer Chicago. The plan to fill the budget shortfall included raising taxes on property owners after numerous attempts in the past that have all been shut down by voters, and cutting spend for police reform. Neither of these initiatives will result in a stronger and safer Chicago. The bond rating agency KRBA recently put Chicago's bond rating on watch downgrade, indicating it will be downgraded if the budget does not sufficiently address the structural deficit. The inability to support headcount reductions by the current mayor is lunacy. I myself was unfortunately a part of a reduction in force in October, which is why I'm here at 2 o'clock on a Thursday. It happens, and people will survive. It happens all the time in the private sector. Instead of making the difficult but absolutely necessary cuts to government spending, continues to push for tax hikes. Our infrastructure is a mess. The bridges are a disaster. The roads and traffic is a joke. Servicemen, I have several friends on the force, and they are exhausted. We have a lack of fire trucks, a significant amount of overtime spent, and it is ridiculous. We're relying on casinos, we're relying on property tax increases, instead of addressing the true issue, which is we have an addiction to spending. We do not have a revenue issue. We have an addiction to spending. I know I have 2 seconds. I urge my fellow Chicagoans to continue pushing for responsible
Thank you very much for your
leadership that
comments.
puts the needs of our
Thank you very much for your comments. However, your time has expired. Our next speaker is Mrs. Lawrence.
I'm going to start off with talking about the budget and the real estate and all these things, and I'm going to get it out in 3 minutes. 14% rating is what you appear to have, Brandon Johnson, across the United States, or how they see you. But 14% rating. Now, I'm going to talk about all those known donations of $11.5 million that came from places like the CTU, the SEIU, the American Federation of Teachers, Illinois Federal Federation of Teachers, and then someone got the nerve to get on there and talk about cutting the pensions. What about our real estate? Because, see, we paid for these properties for a purpose and not for you to go touching it with $300 million that you want to siphon out of the citizens' pockets. Get rid of the illegals, and that'll take your money right back. Started off with that. Now, let's go to a lot of the people here, these aldermen. We had 31 aldermen, and we got one that's playing on the fence about protecting the citizens and their real estate and these property tax increases. But let's also talk about these aldermen that we got 15 of them that's getting money from the CTU. Okay, man. Since 2009. Oh yeah, I'm bringing the facts. The facts is only what I'm going to talk about. And let's also talk about the 5 aldermen who not supporting the citizens, but also are not supporting with this, and receiving money from CTU as well. So you 5, you know who you are, and so do I. List right in my hands. Also, let's talk about the 4.1% increase of salary for 2025, starting from $123,000 to $152,000. So, I mean, this is all public information. It's not like it's something that's hidden. So, because us as citizens, we need to know what's going on, because all of you all are called mini mayors. And the mini mayors are responsible for the citizens within your wards. You are accountable, not just responsible, to be able to speak up on our behalf and not sit here weak and not stand up for us. But the 31 that has stood up, thank you. For the one that's riding the fence, who don't want to sign the letter, but says that he's not going to vote for this, half thank you. Because a man going to stand up. And we know who all of you are, because, again, it's in my hands. So don't think you're not known, because this is public. So when you collect the money from somewhere, just know that people like me research, find out, and expose. Speak up for your citizens.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Dennis. Our next speaker is Dennis White.
Good evening, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I want to know, how does it feel that Trump is in office right now? You see the Mayor Brandon Johnson, you underestimate us. You underestimate the black people, and you underestimate Chicago Red. We're the thorn in your side, and we're going to be the thorn on everybody else in this council member side too. If you don't stop what you're doing, we're going to take matters in our own hand, and we're going to stop it. When you took ShotSpotter off after the DNC, and so more shots have been committed, do you know how many people got shot and killed? 20. One was a police officer, and he was doing his duty. And then some maniac over here wanted to shoot him dead, cold-blooded and stuff. So my thoughts and prayers to the family of that Chicago police officer, Rolf Hand. But Brandon Johnson, I'm going to say this to you once. I'm not going to repeat myself again. If you don't stop this madness, not only we're going to come after your seat, but guess what? The worst news is Trump assigned Matt Gaetz as the AG. Once he come in after you, he going to sit up here and audit all this money that you've been spending on these illegals at the barbershop on the south side that didn't have no money so far from you and stuff. So why? I know what's going to happen. You're going to go down to the press conference, beat your chest up, and then you're going to talk all that smack. And then you're going to say, if a black man has not had the opportunity like a white man. But guess what? I'm a black man, and I don't see at you, I see through you. And I see the lies that you have been saying since you became office. We had enough problem with Lori Lightfoot, and now she's out because of racism. So when we vote you out, which racism are you going to address? White racism or black racism? You see, you cannot figure out what the lesser of the two evil will be. So guess what's going to happen? You know that Trump had pulled 45% of the voter in the state of Illinois, 37 in the city of Chicago. That's the statistic. That means that Illinois is turning purple. We're going to turn red. And for some of these city councilman member, I warn you, do not sit with Brandon Johnson. We're going to get them seats.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Zoe Lee.
I'm gonna start with what you said, Tuesday?
Going to defend the people of this city. Because look, his attack, let's be very clear, the president-elect, former President Trump, his threat is not just towards new arrivals and undocumented families. His threats are also against black families. He has a vision to destroy public education. So when he talks about Project 2025 and dismantling public education, we're talking about a system that has been designed to create leveling opportunities for families who are descendants of slaves. Surely going to...
You always want to use black people in your press conferences, but don't do nothing for black people in Chicago. You already know why I'm here, and I've been coming here for a year. Before I even knew who you was as a mayor, you was dipping off, going to the sides when I was out there protesting. You have corporate counsel right next to you, Mary Richardson Lowry, who has no idea what she's doing, because if she would have told you to settle my case. Okay? So yeah, you can look the other way and roll your eyes and do all that stuff, but you do not care about the black Chicago citizens. Okay, you're trying to push this socialist agenda in this capitalist society. In 2019, when you was head leadership with CTU, y'all did a little GoFundMe and went over to Venezuela because y'all already knew what y'all were going to do with bringing them all over here, right? So you're pushing this agenda with the illegal immigrants because y'all done stole all their money, because you thought that after that $51 million that the feds gave you back then, that Biden was going to keep sending y'all money. But as you know, Biden is the real racist, the one that y'all say Trump is. Biden been racist. Biden been racist for a long time. He just popped up with Obama as the vice president, and everybody just forgot. Okay, you have no idea how how to govern. 2026, 2027, we're going to get you out, Tony Preckwinkle out, J.B. Pritzker out, Kwame Raoul out, and probably half of the Disgrace 50 out too. And the Disgrace 50 is the alderman. Okay, my case should have been settled. They stealing black people's property and land in the city of Chicago, and they've been doing it for a very long time. Okay? Majority of the people that work for the city of Chicago and Cook County are realtors or part of real estate agents. That is a conflict of interest, so that's why y'all keep stealing our property and our land. And y'all think that it's going to be okay and it's going to keep happening. It's not going to happen. It's not going to keep happening. We have a new Department of Justice, and at the end of the day, we have people that are running for office.
Thank you very much for your comments. Your Honor, there are no further speakers who have timely signed up for the public comment
Very
period.
well. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. This concludes the public
is Chernell Lane.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Chernell Lane. I will be speaking on the budget for the Plow the Sidewalks program. I believe we, as all citizens of this city, will benefit from the Plow the Sidewalk program. I, as a wheelchair user, think it's imperative that we have the sidewalks clean during the winter months to get around. This goes for disabled people, mobile, blind, hearing disabled people, seniors. They can't do what they used to do, so they're not able to plow their sidewalks, and they may not have anyone to do it for them, and because of their limited budgets, may not also be able to pay someone to do it for them. Not to mention, if they slip and fall on the ice, it could be very dangerous for not only them, but their families, and an increase in their financial responsibility. Parents of children who have to walk to school every day or even just want to play have the risk of falling or not being able to get around properly because of the snow. Property owners aren't going to look out for the citizens by themselves. We all have fines in order, but they don't pay the fines. And we also have to remember about vacant lots and buildings. The city's responsibilities to care for its citizens during bad and dangerous weather do not end with the streets. The city can find the money for this. Maybe if the city spent more money on the safety of all of its residents, then the upkeep of flowers, more specifically in the downtown area, I believe you all could make it happen. Put yourselves in the shoes of the resident I mentioned. Put your family members in the shoes of the resident I mentioned. Make sure that you all not only look in your hearts, but look in your duties and responsibilities as the city council of the city of Chicago. Think about how you all are blessed to be able to get where you all were today, and that you all have the tools and the mean-how and the transportation ability to do so. Consider those same issues for the people of Chicago who walk these sidewalks every day, for those people who may have been trying to get to buses or trains who can't even make it there because of the snow, and then they can't get to work, and then they can't get to school, which prevents them from being productive members of this society. Please look into your hearts, your head, and your know-how to please come up with money for the budget of the Plow the Sidewalk program. We appreciate you, your service, and your work, and I know you will do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Danielle Carter.
So Brandon, you and all these Democratic mayors out here and governors, y'all talking about crashing out for these illegals, right? You all sit up there and said you will not allow Trump to come in here and get these illegals. Yeah, you can smile. We're in $1 billion deficit. And you spent half of our money, half of that on illegals. You campaign and double down that you would not raise property taxes. I ain't gonna do that. You campaign went around doing that. And here we are right now. You wanted to raise our taxes $300 million. They shut it down. Now we back here for $150 million. Okay. See, this is what we asking now. Since you want to crash out, some of y'all say y'all willing to go to jail for it. Trump, Tom Homan, make an example of this Negro right here first. Please come here first, because you know what? We're going to help you. We want to forensic.
Ma'am, I would ask that you keep your, hold on a second, stop her time. Just a second. Stop her time. Ma'am, I would ask that you, if you want to continue speaking, you have to make sure that your language is appropriate, okay? All right.
We got Alex.
Okay, you can begin her time again.
You're going to spend our tax dollars to go, Michael Rodriguez, you said to take Trump to court to protect these illegals. You said you're going to spend our tax dollars to take Trump to court to protect these illegals if they try to come in here in your district. And then you said all of y'all in cahoots with each other to do it. Okay, so now we about to make y'all famous. We're gonna let all y'all constituents know who y'all ratting for. That y'all wouldn't spend our tax dollars to protect illegals and to get them legal services. So that's what we're doing. That's cool, because we about to make all of y'all aldermen famous. Y'all think this is how it's gonna rat? I think not. Flip Chicago red. We not playing.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is...
Excuse me, just a second. If you continue to shout, I will clear the chamber. That is your only warning. Okay, next person, please.
Our next speaker is Jessica Jackson.
So, Mayor Brandon Johnson, I was always taught that a man's word is his bond. I was always told that if you can't take a person at their word, you can't take them at nothing, right? So, because I was raised that way, I stand by my word. And there's two words I gave you. The first word was, we coming for them seats. And we are. And we are. The second word I gave is that we was gonna make y'all famous. And we gonna make y'all famous, starting with Famous Friday. Every Friday at 6 o'clock, we're gonna be on Zoe's YouTube. Tune in, Zoe Lee, and we're gonna get you one at a time. Starting with, gonna pull your name out of a hat. And we're going to see who is the lucky person who gets to go first. Let's see who's down here. Drum roll, please.
Let's go. We're going to make famous.
This week, Friday at 6 o'clock, featured on the Zoe Lee YouTube is alderperson, because I'm not getting caught up in pronouns and junk. Alderperson Jesse Fuentes. Yay! She's not here, but her people are. Y'all get the word to her. Make sure y'all tune in so you'll know what to expect when it's your turn. For everybody who sat here and ain't helping me get my property, you're going to sit up here and watch them take my stuff from me. But every black person I know that get their property taken, that's a seat that's going. You can believe that. You can believe that. I hate that your name wasn't pulled first. That Mary Richardson Laurie, we're going to get to her too. We're going to get to them commissioners. We're getting to everybody who sat back and watching me be stressed out about my stuff. Tell Jesse Fuentes, tune in. We about to make her famous. Boom.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Howard.
No, he ain't gonna do it. He don't help black people.
It's all right. Good morning, Mayor Johnson, City Councils, and the citizens of Chicago. To the taxpayers, residents, and special interest group, and all who want to see Chicago thrive, and all who want to see property taxes to go down or not pay them, or all who wants to see this city have a better quality of life, can you please stand with me and support me with this? Thank you for your dedication to and the future of the city. To the mayor and city council, if the citizens of Chicago were to come together and support your 2025 budget and also contribute $4.5 billion to the city and $4.5 billion to the county, would you agree to this initiative? I know you can't answer questions. This proposal represents a unified effort by the citizens to address budget shortfall and support the city development. Are you open to accepting and working with the people on such an initiative called the People Fund? And to the citizens, to my fellow citizens in the audience, I now turn to you. You are the backbone of the city, and your voice matters. You reside in one of the 50 wards of Chicago, and you have entrusted these elected officials to represent your interests. I have a question for you. If the mayor of Chicago and the council were to work with the county president, Tony Prickwinkle, to end the annual tax and scavenger sale, approve the people fund, which is a transactional tax, waive property taxes, reimburse homes that were taken from the tax sale, would you support their budget proposal in return for these changes? Okay. If you are willing to consider this, I ask you to join me in the hallway after this by the elevators, and I will finish telling you about the people fund. There I will explain this plan in detail and how it would transform our city and county. Now, Mayor Johnson, you do have this proposal. I don't know if you got it yet. You probably haven't. That's fine. Check with Ms. Kennedy. But this proposal is a great proposal, and it will bring and help the city, and it definitely will help the people from losing their home, because without their homes, we do not exist, and the city don't exist. And another thing, Alderman, you guys are elected by us. We are the people. We down here, we want you to represent us. I hope that you guys have our interest. So, again, after everything is over with, come in the hallway, and I'm going to explain what we call the People Fund. It's the coldest economic initiative ever. When I created my directors, I'm like an economist now. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Tiara Conway.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Tiara Conway. I'm here to speak about actually police torture, or as y'all say, prosecutorial misconduct. Yet again, this is another budget crisis. We demand no cuts and transparencies, no cuts. We demand no cuts on accountability and transparencies, but instead cut the vacant positions. We should not be funding any criminals. Mayor Brandon Johnson, I need you to look into this case. Ramon Banks has been held against his will for over 2 years at the Cook County Jail. We have Officer Kevin Korn and Miguel Jackson, who intentionally made up false allegations against him. We have Farrah Bryce, the Assistant State's Attorney, who approved it. They lied and stated Mr. Banks made photo movement when they approached the car. The body cam clearly shows that Mr. Banks was instructed to raise down the window. He's the passenger. Why would he turn towards his left if the window is to his right? They also lied and stated Miguel Anderson, he's the driver officer, said that he seen a weapon in plain view directly behind the passenger seat. How could you see that and you're the driver officer? We need help with this case. I understand to Terry frisk someone, you have to have a reasonable of suspicion that a crime is at foot or someone is armed and danger. The officer must be able to articulate specific facts which led them to suspect a crime is at foot or someone is armed and dangerous. These policemen that you guys is putting out here, they not upholding the law. They actually violating them. We need these people to be held accountable, because lack of accountability can create a toxic environment like what we're experiencing now. We have so much going on in this city where it's a lot of innocent people which pled guilty because they fighting against all you guys. This is wrong. I really need you to look into this case. His next court date is December 18th. We're demanding this case to be thrown out. You have lack of probable cause. They violated his rights. You have prosecutorial misconduct, and they have insufficient evidence. We have on body cam the officer telling me that he had to put something in my car. We don't do that here. I asked him, what is there you have to put in my car? He told me I'm not under arrest. That he
Thank you very much for your comments. However, your time has expired. Our next speaker this morning is Miss Lawrence.
Good morning, all in the city council that came today, and for those who didn't come today that usually block up this room. Yes. Let's talk about vows when you all are getting up there doing those prayers. Let's talk from a Christian point of view. Numbers 32, Ecclesiastes 5:5. James 5:12, Matthew 5:33, and 5:37. You know what those are? All are, Brandon Johnson? They're called vows that you make before God. You get on national TV and make these statements that raising property taxes is not one of the things that you can do because it's the lazy way of doing things. But are you now lazy? Are you now lazy? It's the question, because you're not holding to any of these. And as we also listened to you, or basically watched you while William J. Kelly stumbled and pummeled you in a press conference, and you standing there trembling at all the questions that he asked from a citizen's perspective. Now let's get down to Tom Homan and 8 U.S.C. 1324. Different editions of 1994, 2020, 2021, and 2022 about you harvesting aliens. And you so strong about protecting those aliens, but you won't do nothing for the U.S. citizens. We are the ones who pay your salaries. Salaries! Let me accentuate on that. But yet, you want to overlook us like we don't exist. Well, you're not going to exist for the next election because there's a 10-year prison sentence when you want to stand up here for those illegals. See, when I come, I told you I'm bringing the facts. And on the back of my shirt, I'm going to let you read it before I walk away, to let you know that I'm not about your games, your jokes, and your prizes. Because when you ask silly questions, you're going to get silly answers. You know, you should know that statement, right? Well, you haven't answered the question yet. William J. Kelly came to you with plenty of them. And what happened with that? Only thing you could talk about is your wife saying her first name. Who cares? I don't. Because number one, I never voted for you. Number two, Lori Lightfoot either. Because I have not been a Democrat for nearly 2 decades. So therefore, you wouldn't have been my choice. And you even let Vallis show your evil in those debates. So here's the message for you. Nope, not today.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is George Blakemore.
Brenda Johnson didn't bring this doo-doo here. It's been here. Old Man Daley, Harold Washington, Richard Daley, Lady Lightfoot. This man did not bring this doo-doo in this room. It's been here. And you've been voting for this doo-doo too. Well, maybe some of you have, and maybe I was the one too. I was under the impression that I could vote for a candidate and I could vote somebody in. You can't vote nobody in. The way this is set up is a group of people slate who they want, and then you vote for those they slate. This is all rigged. They're all Democrats. All of, and it's been this way. So some of y'all get up here and spit in this mic and holler, it's been this way. This is nothing new under the sun. So the Alton got a raise. And never got a raise. So the teachers say they want a raise. And the farmers want a raise. Everybody wants something. What do you want? I want this chamber to be diverse. Have many different political parties and different viewpoints. It's all the same, 69 each other. All of them, the black ones, the white ones, the Hispanic, all are Democrats. Now, how are you going to get rid of all of them? All of them, and make it happen, make it work. I don't think you're going to do it just holler and go red. I think you're going to have to have some strategic aims to clean this doo-doo up. This is old doo-doo. This doo-doo go back a long time. And you don't smell it now because it's dry, but you can see the results of it. You can, all of them. So the press, all of them, they all in this together. This is not new. So you holler, go red, go blue, go green. It needs to have a change here. All of them are the same. Every one of these men and women are the same point. All of them. So what can you
Stay in the microphone, Mr. Blakemore. Stay in the microphone.
A revolution to change this system and clean it up and have a real democratic system, a democracy where you have different points of views. Everybody here is the same doo-doo. All of them. Have you ever seen a bad
Thank you very much for your comments. However, your time has expired. Our next speaker this morning is Melvin Bailey.
How you doing, Mayor and City Council?
Good morning.
It's been a long time since I've been coming down here. But, again, I'm coming down here, Mayor, and I want you to hear this. We want to enforce TBI, Trouble Building Initiative. There's over 15,000 vacant and abandoned buildings surrounded around the city of Chicago, and they trapped in our community. If I got started a petition. I'm getting 26 signatures from aldermen, so we can turn. I talked to several aldermen individual. As you can see, I started, they already signed. So what we want to do is take them vacant and abandoned buildings, rehab them, keep our young men in our community. Because if we keep them in the community, now we can tell them to put down their the gun. Now they don't have to take that car running into downtown, and now they don't have to kill another police officer. Is we talking about reducing all crime? No, but we're going to reduce some of the crime. We'll reduce some of the crimes with these vacant and abandoned buildings in our community. And just like Alderman Lopez said, maybe we need to have a committee meeting on it. We need to call Corporation Counsel. I already talked to Judge Murray. I already talked to Judy Freeland. Judge Murray is the housing court. Judy Freeland is the commissioner. She said, man, we got a bunch of them. But Corp Counsel are holding the properties hostage like it's their property. But this is our community. And I'm tired of seeing our young kids coming down every time you look at the news. Look, we just had a police officer killed in Oak Park, police officer killed in Chicago. Come on now, all you smart people down here. All the degrees you guys have, you mean to tell me we can't take a simple problem? Now, here's a vacant and abandoned list that they sent me. Here's some agreed order demos. They've been on the agreed order demo list since 2014, and they still standing. That's 10 years. You mean to tell me all these educated people down here, we cannot find a solution to this problem? At least we can give these kids some hope, because every time they call me or talk to me, do you have a job for me? That's all they want to do is work. They don't want, it's like, bro, I don't want to grab this sword, but I got to. Man, they're like, I don't want a big bro, I don't want it, man. I'm like, they call me, I got that, say, you know what, I'm going to tell you this. Y'all can take this. When they call, I tell them I have a job. You know what they tell me? Just look at the news. That's the first thing they tell me, just watch the news. And they serious, because I watch the news. The first thing you hear, I say, oh man, I couldn't save them. I can't save all of them, but we can save some of them. So I really appreciate if you guys help us with this problem, because we can, we can most definitely solve some of it. Some of it. Come on now, who all signed? I'm looking for signatures. I need 26 signatures to give to the mayor so we can force Corporation Counsel. I can't wait to talk to Corp Counsel and the budget meeting, Department of Law. This is a very big problem. But I want to say thank you to Jason Irvin, thank you to the Housing Department, because they allow us to start building on Madison and Hamlin, a small African-American company to build. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Mr. Cruz.
Thank you, City Council. Thank you, Mayor. Today I stand here as a concerned citizen to speak out against the leadership of Mayor Brandon Johnson, a leader whose actions and affiliations are doing a disservice to our once great city. But before I do so, I'd like to thank Alderman Brendan Riley and Raymond Lopez and the other common sense aldermen for holding firm on no property tax hikes and for their proposed headcount reductions. While the end of the budgetary cycle is near, we are just getting started in order to save our city, which is in financial crisis. Under the current mayor's administration, we've seen a disturbing trend. A mayor more concerned with pandering to special interest groups and non-taxpayers than with making the tough, necessary decisions to move this city forward. Mayor Johnson's leadership can be defined by demagoguery, fueled by progressive rhetoric and driven by a divisive agenda that plays to the lowest common denominator rather than striving for unity, fiscal responsibility, or the common good. We do not need progressive revenue initiatives. We have an addiction to spending, and it must be fixed immediately. It's no secret that Brandon Johnson's ties to the CTU run deep. His political career from the start has been propped up by union support, and now as mayor, it's clear that those ties come with a hefty price tag and put the CTU's interests above those of our children and taxpayers. The CTU, with its unwavering influence over local politics, has contributed to our insolvency. The president of the CTU recently tweeted, "We will put a force field around our children." This is lunacy and the definition of demagoguery. The CTS, for a couple of stats here, the CTS budget in 2010 was $5.3 billion, roughly $13,000 per student to educate. In the 2025 budget, the budget for CPS is $10 billion, or $31,000 per student. When is enough enough? That's the cost to go to the University of Illinois. The annual salaries of CPS employees have skyrocketed by over $800 million since 2019, all of which was funded by federal COVID funds, which are all now depleted and no longer coming. What's more troubling is the mayor's blatant disregard to address the rising costs of living, worsening infrastructure, and mounting public debt. His proposal to raise property taxes was egregious and was lost by 50-0 vote. He and his supporters refused to give in on the sanctuary status when we've spent over $600 million on migrants this year, while Chicago is basically insolvent. Argentina's new president, Javier Milei, took over an economy in 2023 with triple-digit inflation, massive deficits, and widespread poverty, and he turned their economy around in less than 1 year. How did he do so? He cut over $20 billion from government spending while eliminating departments and layoffs, and as a result, inflation has collapsed to 3% from over 200%, and GDP growth has reached 16% in the latest quarter with a budget surplus. Chicago deserves better. We need leadership that puts our city's future above partisan interests and won't be held hostage to union interests. The current mayor won the 2023 election by 26,000 votes on 30% voter turnout. We need a mayor who will stand up to the special interests and focus on the
Thank you very much for your comments. However, your time has expired. Our next speaker is David Mason.
Yeah, you remember me, Brandon Johnson, from the PBC meeting, and you know I'm standing on business. Here you are with another gritty property tax hike, trying to push the have-nots to house your precious illegal immigrants. You told Trump you ain't gonna blink? Well, we ain't either. You ain't above the law, and where you gonna run to when Trump pulls that Trump card out on you? I will make it my duty to try to get my gun to perform an Operation Grey Lord 2.0 in Chicago and lock all of you crooked Democrats and judges up. And it's just like that.
Thank you very much for your comments. Your Honor, there are no further speakers
Very
who have
well,
time to
this
sign up for
concludes
the
the public comment period. We don't have any resolutions. Next up, communications. Will have to be specified, but it is relegated to the budget. And again, each speaker will have 2 minutes, and we have so far a total of 25 speakers thus far, at least. Very well. The first speaker, Mr. Cruz.
Thank you. I don't really have a ton to say other than I once used to be proud to call myself a Chicagoan, and I was recently, and now everyone's going to get up and walk away just fine. But we have an addiction to spending, and progressive revenue initiatives will not grow our way out of this issue. The progressive revenue tactics will fail until the necessary headcount reductions and budget cuts are made, including do not lower the speed limits to try to trap individuals and citizens for driving 30 miles an hour when the speed limit's 25 or whatever the proposal is. That will not work, and that will only lead to increased traffic and continue to annoy citizens. Chicago Metropolitan Water Reclamation District has a $1.6 billion budget. $500 million of this is paid from Chicago property taxes. I'm sure there's some savings there. We have an egregiously complex and rigid form of local government. We have 20 Cook County commissioners. Now we have 21 new Chicago Board of Education members. We obviously have the 50 city council members, which we thank you, the vast majority of you. Again, progressive revenue policies will only fail and continue to exacerbate the city's financial woes. I was recently in Nashville with my wife 2 weeks ago, and I just randomly met 4 people who had moved from Chicago to Tennessee because of the tax burden. A number of my friends have moved to Colorado, they moved to Nashville, they moved to Texas. We don't want to move, but there's really no alternative. If we're just going to continue to raise taxes, people are not going to want to move here, or people are not going to want to stay here, okay? The only way to get out of this budget crisis and insolvency is to increase the population and keep people here, encourage people to want to move here, encourage businesses to want to hire here, okay? Raising taxes, it does the exact opposite of that. Lastly, just please do not reduce the speed limits. That is insane. We need, if anything, we should be increasing the speed limits. The traffic is a nightmare. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to repeat again, if there are any individuals in the audience that require ASL, please let us know. Are there any members in the audience that need sign interpreters? Very well. The next speaker is Conway. Tiara Conway. All right, we'll hold off then. Tiara Conway is not here. The next speaker is David Mason. David Mason. Okay, the next speaker, Jessica Jackson.
So, Jesse Fuentes, you wasn't here. So, real quickly, well, you acting like you don't hear me, but you'll see yourself on Friday on Zoe Lee's channel, and we're going to make you famous, and you're going to keep acting like you don't hear me. Now, as it pertains to the budget, what I'm trying to figure out is this. How are my property taxes getting increased when you keep instructing your people to not settle my case? So you got the public administrators who are intentionally depriving me of my income because they're telling those tenants to squat on me for free for 2 years. But yet and still, I'm getting property tax increases. And if I don't pay the property taxes by December 10th, they got the audacity to say they're going to put my property at a tax sale. While you all are sitting there letting these people squat on me for 2 years. But yet, my property tax bill is $300 more than it was last quarter. Now, you make that make sense. And you tell me why you should be able to stay in that position and why anybody should be able to stay in these seats. You all know what they are doing. You know what they're doing. And y'all gonna sit here and let them come after my property while y'all let some squatters per the public administration office sit in my building. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You're supposed to be a civil rights attorney. What is it that Conway supposed to be a prosecutor? And he ain't bothering them white judges at all. But he walk around here all smug, thinking he better than y'all because he born rich.
All y'all need to be embarrassed. I hope to pray to God that whatever y'all family leave for y'all, I hope it burns to the ground.
Next speaker is George Blakemore.
Pertaining to the budget. Every household, you make so much money and you have priorities of what you're going to spend your money on. Now, one department that's notorious is notorious water department. The notorious water department, very racist. And if you don't pay your water bill, did you know they can put a lien on your property and take it? The most notorious water department, the notorious police department, the notorious police department. Now, I spoke here and been spitting in this mic, and I made a statement. Have you ever seen a black policeman pull his gun out and shoot a white man, a white woman, a white boy, or a white girl? In the United States of America, that doesn't happen. But constantly you see white policemen say they serve and protect, killing black people while walking in their homes. So evidently these black policemen know their place. And these white policemen seem like they don't have a place. The notorious police department. Let's go to the notorious fire department. Only 16% of the firemen are black. The notorious racism. The worst city in the United States, the most corrupt, is the city of Chicago. Well, why would you say this? Because how many of those so-called leaders have been indicted? Have been indicted? And they keep on keeping on. So racism is alive here. Go back to that police department again, Mr. Blakemore. The fraternal order of the police.
Thank you, Mr. Blakemore. The next speaker, Danielle Carter.
Okay, so I got a great way how we can what we can do with this budget. First, let's start with cutting off illegals, getting free everything. Free housing, free schooling, free food. Yeah, let's start with that. That'll save us a lot of money. What, $600 million? Let's start there. Then let's start with your salary. You are going down in history as the worst mayor in America. Let's start with cutting yours. You making too much money. Let's start there. And now let's start with the police detail you had, the 200 police detail you had. Let's start with that. Because you Democrats, and you remember you told us to defund the police? Remember, you ran on that. Remember, you was the defund the police? Let's start with that. Let's defund the police detail that you have. And let's put the police back in our neighborhood, because we're not for defunding the police. We need the police. So let's start with all the Democrats, because y'all policy, what y'all push in our neighborhood, defund the police. So all y'all that got police details and got police presence around y'all house, let's start with cutting that. That'll save a lot of money. So won't you just practice what you preach? Remove all the details. We saw you coming in today. You had all the police presence. So let's take some of that away. And then let's start with and I'm asking you all, and I'm telling you all, aldermen, whatever property tax hike he's proposing, or whatever taxes he's proposing on the Chicago citizens, I'm letting y'all know for real. And now, if you all vote on anything to raise all taxes or anything, because we are already suffering, homeowners, you all will not be in those seats.
Thank you. The next speaker is Howard Ray.
Yes, I'm back. Since people not speaking, a lot of people not speaking, can we raise it back up to 3 minutes? But here's the deal. To the aldermans and the citizens and the council, I'm going to talk about the People Fund again. Basically what the People Fund is, it's a special tax for the citizens of Chicago. And what we're asking is for all sale transactions and uses that occurs, we want 6 cents, CENTS, attached to those sale transactions. We estimate that there's 6 trillion transactions in a half a year that occurs in Chicago, in Cook County. So you take 6 trillion times 6 cents, you get $360 billion. That's $700-some billion a year. But that tax is solely for the citizens of Chicago. That tax will pay our property taxes. It will also fund public safety. It will also do a lot of other things for our community, because each community, including the suburbs, because this is a Cook County and Chicago, that's why I asked to also include Tony Preckman. Every community would be able to get $1 billion per community, and the directors of that fund would be non-elected officials, but they would have to go through the elected officials in time. That's a whole nother subject. But what we want to do is have that special tax. You guys can keep your 10.25, but really you guys here in Chicago is 1.25%. You guys keep that. Just add that 6 cents. We're willing to negotiate with you guys. Maybe you can give 3 cents and the citizens give 3 cents to make us 6 cents. This is what we want. That way everybody be satisfied. You guys can raise all what y'all want to raise for what you need to do, but give us our 6 cents on every transaction that occurs in Cook County.
Thank you. The next speaker is Zoe Lee.
Let's go, Zoe.
All right, I see that you now are floating around a 60 million property tax hike. Ain't no taxes gonna be hiked until y'all it shouldn't be at all, but you need to settle my family's case. Like, the city of Chicago, the local government, the state of Illinois, has violated the 5th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, the U.S. Constitution. Y'all take an oath. The government owes my family for eminent domain. Y'all sit here and ignore this. The government owes my mother, as a single black daughter raised by a single black mother who gave me what I needed to be down here. That's why I'm not scared. I know the Constitution. I know the federal laws. I said last year, I said, this is December 13th. I said, for the last 60 days, I've sent an email to the Chicago Inspector General requesting that they look into the accounting of the $640 million. The key players in the illegal immigration scheme are Carlos Ramirez Rosa, Rosana Rodriguez Sanchez, Michael Rodriguez, Andre Vasquez, Beatrice Ponce de Leon. As far as making Chicago great again, the black Democratic leadership in Congress showed that they have no black agenda. That's why they have allowed all this money to go to everyone but the black Americans for decades. The only way the Democrats should be voted back in is find and secure the black agenda, pass the debt, pay the debt America owes us, apologize to black Americans and say they won't try this S again, and as far as locally, flip Illinois red on principle.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. The next speaker is Jasmine Smith. Jasmine Smith. Very well. The next speaker is John Morrison.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, you ran on being better, and I believed in you. So much so that I organized for you, I canvassed for you, and I fundraised for you. And when you won, Chicagoans entrusted you and this council to build a better, stronger, safer Chicago. You promised to build bridges instead of raising them. But over the last year, you've proposed spending taxpayer money on a stadium we don't want, a massive payday loan for CPS, and in a year with record police settlement costs, you shamefully proposed further deferring the implementation of the consent decree for our police force. And for the rest of us, property taxes and service cuts. I fear you've lost the plot, Mr. Mayor. If I wanted this kind of financial mismanagement, I would have voted for that guy from Palos Heights. The Plow the Sidewalks pilot was one of the few progressive legislative accomplishments. This pilot estimated to cost slightly more than $1 million, but yet it's nowhere to be found in your current $17.3 billion draft budget. That $1 million pilot represents an investment in our people and a benefit by clearing our sidewalks. We can empower the elderly and disabled members of our community to live fuller and safer lives, while potentially spurring economic activity, increasing transit ridership when we do desperately need it, and reducing unnecessary injuries. It's an investment in a better, stronger, safer Chicago that you ran on, sir. But here you are, walking away from that investment. It's not too late, Mr. Mayor. I want to believe in you. I want you to prove me right. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Joanne Johnson.
Brandon Johnson, you wasn't in office when this happened. We purchased insurance on our property. They came out to rebuild after a fire. They demolished the property, turned around, they put a roof up, they framed it, and they walked away. It was in zoning. Zoning was supposed to overlook this property. Building, zoning, Dan, that's in the building office. And they told them to build that property the way I wanted it to be built. The insurance money walked away. I got signatures, I got documents of everybody that's involved in this project. And Nation Land Adjusters, they were supposed to build it up, but they walked away from it. So now it's just a dump. It's abandoned. We did everything we were supposed to do. We paid our insurance, and they took our insurance money. And why? The zoning department was supposed to overlook the project, and they didn't. I went into court. They told me to get a lawyer. My lawyer tell me, you dealing with the city of Chicago, you're fucked. We did everything we were supposed to do. We did everything we were supposed to do. And they turned around and walked away with $300,000.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Dennis White.
Brandon Johnson, the good news is we got 48 days before Trump take that oath. In January, ICE gonna come in and get rid of the illegal immigrants. Here's the thing. In order for us to get these taxes, we gotta get rid of these illegals. So this was gonna happen to you. You got Cash Patel and Pam Bundy that you're gonna have to deal with sooner than later. Then it's gonna be an audit. Next, it's gonna be an investigation. Then it's gonna be an indictment.
Well, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Oh, I like that. Oh my God. I like that. That's bad.
Conviction. That's what's gonna happen to you.
Oh my God. They can give him the report.
Now, guess what? I just cooked them under 2 minutes.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Vashan Ton.
Good morning to the people of Chicago. I just want to say, Mr. Brandon Johnson, I'm up here. I am speaking right now, so I would love your undivided attention, please. I'll wait. So this just proves to you the lack of leadership that you show in this city. You can't even give me straight eye contact. Now, I'm going to let you know now, the people of Chicago, we're done with you. I'm a young black man here in Chicago, Illinois, and I'm here to tell you that I've seen what the Democratic Party have done to my people, specifically black people. Now, it is insane how we have been voting Democrat for over 60 plus years, and we've never seen a change from people like you, Lori Lightfoot, Rob Emanuel. It is insane. Now, when it comes to the budget, why would you want to get rid of Shot Spotters, which is a $36 to $49 million investment in communities that are basically suffering from gun violence? I support Blue Troops. I support the police. They protect us. And you want to defund the police, you and the Democrats. Now, I know you guys see my Trump hat. You know that Chicago is flipping red. Chicago was 37% red. In 2020, it was only 15%. So we're waking up. So you can pretend that this isn't happening, but I know for a fact that you will not have that seat the next election. And at this point, Brandon Johnson, you can race bait all you want. You guys can sit up here and call me an Uncle Tom because I got my Trump hat on. But here's the thing. If you guys never read Uncle Tom, he died not telling on 2 runaway slaves. But you know who will sell you out in a minute? This guy right here. So you can call me an Uncle Tom all you want, but one thing you can't call me is a damn Democrat.
Well, that's how you do it.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Scarlett Johnson. Scarlett Johnson. Very well. Our next speaker, Robert Castle Jr. Robert Castle Jr.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
My name is Robert Castile Jr. So after years of being incarcerated and having my voice snatched, I'm finally able to speak. So even being inside of cells and things and trying to write about things and certain stuff and having things being denied and mail tampered with and not be able to do that, I'm here to be able to speak about different things that happens in the city and contributes to different subjects and negative effects that turn out in the city. For instance, education. I truly believe in education. I believe in the children. I believe they are the future. We need them to survive and to thrive and to grow forward. With the closing of schools and just not funding the education or the teachers that are needed to teach them to grow, to be fruitful, to produce for our society, to make us better. I most definitely do not agree with that. They need to be funded. They need to be given what they need to protect and allow the children to grow. When you have a classroom that's overcrowded, you have children that are not being paid attention to and some that can't receive that attention and that support or that certain manner or method that they need in order to be nourished mentally. So when that happens, some of them become disruptive. And when they become disruptive, they can't receive the education so that they can grow and do what they need to do. When you don't receive the proper education and it comes time to fill out job applications or whatever it may be, or higher education or whatever it may be, then you're just not able to, which leads you down a certain path where when schools are closed and everything else, the block is never closed. The hood is never closed. You can always go out on those corners. There's always somebody that's ready to teach you the street trade. So when they learn these trades, it's with them. Even inside of that, that's why I support the education of the students and not having crowded classrooms. When it comes to...
Thank you. Next speaker, Ms. Peay Easley.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening to the City of Chicago, to the City Council, to the Mayor, to my alderman of the great 37th Ward, and to all the West Siders in the building. First things first, I had a whole different thing, but I want to say this very quickly. I am a Negro woman. My mother and my father are Negro people. My grandmother is a Negro woman. Their birth certificates out of Cook County, their original ones say Negro. It was printed on the Cook County birth certificates before 1975. Please respect the label and our American ethnicity. We don't have problems identifying anybody else. We will not play about the Negro. But I came here to say this. Typically, I'm here and I'm fussing. I want to say thank you to the City Council. I want to say thank y'all for voting down that $300 million. Thank you for saving us $300 million. Thank you for saying no to $150 million. And we want y'all to say no to the $60 million. You all did not get enough hand claps, enough support, enough love. Know that the whole country was clapping and proud of the work of this City Council because our mayor is embarrassing us, y'all, around the world. And you all took the power back from him to say the City of Chicago is out of the business of funding illegals. We are out of the business of prioritizing non-American citizens on top of the American citizens who go out in this cold weather every day to make money to pay their taxes. So I want to encourage you guys to please stay America first. Please continue to make our city look like the great city that it is because we are great people with good sense. One thing that Chicago people know very well is how to spot a scam, and the scam has been exposed. You cannot bully Chicago people because this is a city of bullies and bully slayers. So today, I encourage you guys to help us slay the bully. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Alex Nelson.
Hi. Hi, Mayor Johnson. Thank you, folks, for taking the time to hear our comments today. I'm Alex Nelson. I'm the strategy advisor for Better Street Chicago. Some of you folks have met me before, many of you have not, but I think a lot of you have heard the campaign I've been managing for the past couple of years now, Plow the Sidewalks. We are seeking to make sidewalk, snow, and ice removal a universal municipal service here in the city of Chicago. It would make us a trailblazer and a leader in our infrastructure. For the past year and a half, Mr. Mayor, we've been working with various city officials, including Commissioner Cole Stollard from Department of Streets and Sanitation, Commissioner Tom Carney from Chicago Department of Transportation, as well as other numerous officials, both from aldermanic offices, from your department, from your administration, and city advocates and organizers who come here either on their free time or as in my case, take PTO days. And we've been doing it and developing this pilot because we believe in it, because we understand that sidewalks are the most universal and accessible infrastructure that this city has. Every single person in this room, regardless of their political allegiance, regardless of whether they're an elected official, a journalist, an organizer, just a constituent here with concerns, every single person uses the sidewalks. And so when we make sure to prioritize the most accessible and tangible infrastructure that every person in the city has access to, it shows who we care about. It shows that we care about the elderly, the disabled, folks with children, folks without access to cars. You campaigned on Plow the Sidewalks. We've been working and developing this pilot. We're incredibly proud of it. And so I'm going to ask you to see it through and make sure that you include the $1 million budget line for the pilot in this upcoming budget season. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Kyle Lucas.
Greetings, City Council, Mayor Johnson. My name is Kyle Lucas. I'm the Executive Director of Better Street Chicago. And I want to read a statement on behalf of some of the organizations that were part of the working group for the Plow the Sidewalks pilot program. In May, the City of Chicago released the Plow the Sidewalks pilot program recommendations report outlining a year's worth of work by advocates alongside the city to develop a feasible pilot program for municipal sidewalk snow and ice removal. This was a profound step forward in the years-long Plow the Sidewalks campaign, but providing a clear roadmap and outline for the city to begin the steps of implementation. Unfortunately, since then, the city has missed key deadlines for implementation and has failed to provide the necessary funding in the Chicago Department of Transportation's budget to move the pilot forward. While the city faces significant challenges, eliminating this pilot program does not meaningfully address those challenges. Instead, it perpetuates the continued neglect of the needs of people with disabilities, seniors, parents with children, and beyond to participate in society when it snows. This means Chicagoans will continue to be unable to run errands, go to the doctor, buy groceries, and otherwise participate in our economy and in their communities, oftentimes left trapped at home for days until the snow clears or melts. A budget is a statement of values, and by continuing to delay implementation, the city is sending a message that it sees the status quo as acceptable. We find the status quo as wholly unacceptable. We are not the first to do this, and we know that this is possible, and we are not asking for the sky. We are asking for a small pilot program to study this and to show what happens. Advocates are here. We are willing to work with you if you will come to the table with us to identify the solutions to make this happen. But we must make it clear, the time to fund Plow the Sidewalks is now. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Kimberly Saunders.
Y'all ain't gonna clap for me. Good afternoon, Mayor Brandon,
Good
and all
afternoon.
the constituents. My name is Kimberly Saunders. I am a developer, Treasure Service, Inc. I purchase property with my money, nobody else's money. I rehab it with my money. Wintrust has granted me a $10 million line of credit because I do a lot of business with them. My godfather took me there, the Italians, and they granted me this credit about a week ago. I'm asking you to do a pilot program where I want to, as I told you, I'm tired of the Inglewood South Side looking like the projects. When you go over to Lincoln Park, these situations should be equal right now. You have nothing to do with this, Brandon. You remember me, I sued CHA and won with the PPP. I asked you to help me then, and you see the federal government won with me. So I think you need to know I got the feds and everybody like messing with me. So I'm asking if I could do a program where they're gonna give me the money to build. I have a couple of other black men that's developing in the city using their money, and we are willing to do some of these projects, fund them, and then we get a pilot, and we're gonna leave equity in there because we're not gonna charge them the full market price. So if we did something like that, that could bridge the gap of generational wealth, all of this that's going on. You just need to talk to people like me and stop being in the in crowd, because I'm not in the in crowd, and I'm the deputy of the 27th Ward, which I was appointed by the Republican Party because they asked me to run against Burnett. I didn't want to run. I don't want to do y'all job. You don't make enough money. But I want to help the community because I'm tired of my side. Well, I don't even live over there. I'm in the 27 over there, whatever. I'm a part of Chicago, South and West Side, but I grew up in Bronzeville. And again, I told you my grandmother worked for President. My grandfather worked for President Kennedy. My grandmother worked for Harold Washington. Again, I have the lineage, the paperwork, the background, and the name that could take the take. But I like to deal with the drug dealers, the hustlers, the crackheads, the misfits, and I help them. So it's like y'all don't mess with me because my kids got put out of British because of one of y'all. Then went and told them people. So thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next speaker is Giovanna Alvarez.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Good
afternoon.
afternoon, City Council. Good afternoon, Chicago residents. My name is Giovanna Alvarez. I'm an immigrant, first generation, and I was very lucky to have an education here in the United States and became a very productive citizen. Nowadays, I am very, very concerned on what's happening on the city. I understand the budget is the bottom line of the concerns that we have, but I can also see a lot of miscommunication, a lot of dysfunctioning. How can we prepare a budget? How can we become effective if we cannot communicate with each other? There's a lot of sensitivity, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anger. So Mayor, I would like to ask you to please consider everyone within the budget. Like I said, I'm an immigrant. I came to the United States legally. I was very fortunate to do that. I have never been a delinquent, and I am very, very embarrassed for what my other fellow Latin American citizens are doing in the city. On behalf of the people that work, on behalf of the people that pay taxes, on behalf of the people that contribute to the city, I'd like to make clear that not everyone is the same. These people came with a wide door open, and they feel entitled to many things that nobody has. There are US citizens suffering from poverty. There are US citizens on public aid, and these people are here just enjoying the benefits, becoming delinquents, and they have no consequences. Same thing with the youth in Chicago. You talk a lot about the youth. Well, let me tell you, I have a daughter who was a university student. She's doing her 3rd degree. She was at the Christmas celebration 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she had the most horrible experience ever. I really thought I was going to lose my daughter out of that experience. What are we doing? Where's my money going? I'm a contributor to the city. I'm a productive person. I want you to do the same, and please lead by example.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak on the proposed executive budget? If there aren't any others that wish to speak on the proposed executive budget, the time is now 12:20. This does conclude our public hearing on the proposed executive budget. The chair recognizes Chairman Irvin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move we return back to the regular order of
On the
business.
motion to return to the regular order of business, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed say no. The motion passes. On the motion to adjourn, the chair recognizes,
Chicago of this cruel product. I thank you so much for this opportunity to share my thoughts.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker this morning is Zoe Lee.
I, and state your name.
I, Brandon Johnson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
For nearly 2 years, the city of Chicago has refused to resolve a case that blatantly violates the 5th and 14th Amendment. Instead, they have continued to commit federal law violations and support fraudulent documents filed by City of Chicago Attorney Bradley Wilson. Ironically, the city is prioritizing settling cases against the police, even in instances where individuals shot at officers first, while disregarding clear constitutional and legal breaches in this matter. Democrats love to accuse Trump and Republicans of corruption and constitutional violations. Yet, under their leadership in Chicago, black families like mine face the same abuses: constitutional rights ignored, fraudulent actions covered up, and public corruption left unchecked. Mayor Brandon Johnson, you took an oath to uphold the Constitution. Or when you took an oath, was it only intended to fight for the 10th and 14th Amendments regarding illegal aliens? You're paying for votes to pass the budget. Everything about this body and administration is unconstitutional. I keep coming here. You know I've been coming here for 2 years. I don't have to tell you about my case anymore because you know about my case. Mary Richardson Lowry, you know about my case too. And you also took an oath. All of y'all took an oath. Y'all are straight violating the U.S. Constitution. But y'all sit and talk about how Trump is so unconstitutional and how he's going to overturn the government and he's going to do all this. But I've been coming here for 2 years. This is the Democratic Party. This ain't Trump. This ain't Matt Gaetz. We come from the federal level to the state level, to Governor Pritzker, to Kwame Raoul that we cannot find, who's the Attorney General, to you guys fighting for some illegal aliens who haven't put a dime in this country when my mother has a building that the city of Chicago Buildings Department demolished because this disgrace alderman over there, 17th Ward David Moore, didn't do his duty as an alderman. This falls on you. It falls on you. You're the mayor this time. What was the purpose of you raising your right hand? What was the purpose of that? That's crazy. You are in violation of the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, the law of the land, the supreme law of the land. That's crazy.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Jessica Jackson.
Now, before you get offended and try to stop me from saying what I'm going to say, you're a biblical person, so you say, just like I am. The Bible speaks of stupidity. The Bible says that the children of Israel were a stupid, stubborn, stiff-necked people. That was the reason why they couldn't get out the wilderness. The stupidity of this administration, the stupidity of this administration to think that we don't know any better than to know that you all are going to pass that budget with all those tax increases. The stupidity to think that we don't know that you all could have corrected this stuff a long time ago. The stupidity to think that you all could come with this type of cut, this type of recommendation, and not come with the true accounting of how much money was spent on these illegals. You all have yet to be transparent with that. That's the biggest financial downfall of the city. Yet, there has not been any type of audit, any type of financial accounting for illegal immigration. It is stupidity of this administration to think that we did not know the other day at the budget meeting when they had the law department here, that key members of the law department that sit in here every day, like that Levine, like that other one with the glasses, to think, Mary Richardson Laurie, that you really could make us try to think that the city and the county are so different, so separate, that they don't intertwine with one another, especially when it comes to public corruption. For you to insult people like that. For you all to think that we believe that you did an 800 survey of voters that made you all step back and look at what you were voting on when we stood at this mic. And I told you that if you voted wrong for money, we was coming for them seats. That's where it came from. Not from no fake 800 people. So now, we're going to continue with what we started. Make you famous Friday. Until you all get it through your thick heads that we not playing. Afro Elite pulled the name yesterday for Michelle Harris. And she can sit there and rock like she don't hear it. But everybody knows when you hear your name, it triggers something inside of you. Tune in, 6 o'clock on Zoe Lee. Leigh, YouTube. We're going to make you famous, Alderwoman Michelle Harris.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Osiris King.
Go Red, Chicago Red. Good morning, Mayor Brandon Johnson. This is my first time seeing you in person. It's really cool and just not seeing it through the news. My name is Osiris. I'm a young 26-year-old man here in Chicago. And I remember when my elementary school in the area that I live in, the Wadsworth Elementary School, was turned into a migrant shelter. And I remember how Democrats talked to us like we were stupid. You need help. The immigrants need help. Y'all gotta work together. They live in poverty. This is something that you have to accept. And they talked to us like we were 5 years old. But y'all wanna talk about Republicans belittling black people and talking to them like they're stupid? I felt like I was 3 years old, like, okay, like I don't know where Venezuela is on a map. Half of the people who support these migrants probably couldn't point to Venezuela on a map, but a lot of folks are probably wondering, what is this young black kid or young black man doing wearing this hard hat in City Hall today? Well, let me tell you, growing up, my favorite show was Bob the Builder. He wore a very funny yellow hat. This hat is a symbol of Bob the Builder building the wall, building it tall around America, around Chicago. We don't want illegals in our community. We don't want migrants terrorizing our own people. And to have y'all sit up here and say, we have to accept $70 million being given to them when you got black people who are already struggling and need help, it is a disgrace. It is a disgrace. And this election of Donald Trump represents something that is just more than him winning. This is the end of vote blue no matter who. This is the end of they black, you gotta vote for them. This is the end of Democrats saying lesser than two evils. They did that with Hillary. They did that with Biden. They did that with Kamala. It didn't work this time. People are sick and tired because nowadays you got to get your hands dirty. You got to come down and talk to the people. You got to give a little to get a little. Black people are not falling for the okie doke. A long time ago, y'all would say, black people jump. We say, how high? They say, stoop down. We say, how low? They say, go vote Democrat. We would run faster than Usain Bolt to get to the ballot box. But this is the end. And must I also say, people talk about Mayor Brandon Johnson, but he is just a microcosm of the problem in the Democrat Party. I want to talk to Democrats on a national stage. You got in New York City, Black Lives Matter being very upset, and that's fine, but also be very upset about what's going on in Chicago with these black people being terrorized by the migrants, the illegal immigrants, and no one can say anything about it. It's not fair. So at the end of the day, with the time I got left, I want people to think about who really has the power. Democrats think they have the power. Obama, who was an abomination to this entire nation, thinks he got the power. Hillary Clinton and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi think they got the power. They think they can bully us and we got to stand silent. But people in America everywhere know that we got the power. And we saw Donald Trump.
Thank you very much for your comments. Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is More Real News. Our next speaker is More Real News.
Y'all like my blue shoes? They hurt. Because that's all you Democrats been giving is pain. I came down here a little bit the same time as Zoe, Miss Jackson, and I've been homeless. My child and I have been on the streets. We actually slept in the car on Thanksgiving because some bogus stuff with some Democrats wouldn't get us in the apartment when the landlord signed the lease on the 22nd. But exactly, they can get the illegals in. You can get them in, you can get them in, Brandon, can you? You can give everything to them, even though I gave you information on how the shelters treat our people, etc. But y'all can build these nice shelters and put them in these nice hotels, you know. But you know, I got a little stability now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be speaking a little different and a little better. I ain't gonna cuss you out like they told me not to. I ain't gonna get you. I ain't gonna get you. Because I'm not fake here. It's just that I'm a real man and a real father. So I feel a different hurt than maybe you do. And that makeup ain't for him. Don't crack jokes on him. That's for his wife. You know what I'm saying? I'm natural. My wife is natural. We will. I ain't faking. I ain't faking and saying, excuse me, I'm not faking and saying who I am. I tell them all the time, I'm a Moorish American, whether who like it or not. I stand on that. I ain't faking like Miss Clay, Islam, and more and things like that. You ain't even got a bay on your name. Stop faking. I ain't faking like Jeanette Taylor, claiming, oh, we for the people, and then vote something different against the people. And I'm running for alderman in that ward, in the 20th ward. And I'm standing on that 20 of a love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So the streets know what I'm talking about. I'm running for that ward. A real man, a real person for the community. A real person that y'all know came for nothing. I've been down here, came for nothing. From the ground floor, even when we was homeless, I still dressed nice and represented as a man, and as a father, and as a leader. And also prophesied things down here. And as well as my comrades. We prophesied go red. We prophesied we gonna get Trump up in here. That red look nice on you, Miss Coleman. You always look like a stripper. But anyway,
Okay.
we gonna get
Okay,
you.
that's it. Shut his
We
mic
gonna
off.
get-
Your time is up, sir.
Excuse me.
You will not insult people on this floor. Your
Excuse me.
time is up.
Excuse me.
Back, please.
Speakers are reminded that people of all ages are listening to public comments, and we ask that you please refrain from personal attacks and using profanity. Thank you very much.
If you continue to have an outburst, I would ask you to be removed. Now, we've taken your time. If you can, please continue.
Our next speaker is Moises Moreno.
So it has already been determined that you don't follow the United States Constitution. And maybe that's perhaps because you're not a founding father and your name is not on the document. So perhaps if we show you something that your name is on, maybe you'll follow those rules. We got a rules of order and procedure, City Council, City of Chicago, for 2023 to 2027, with your name on it. However, we sit in here all the time and watch you violate our rights. We sit in here all the time and watch you allow City Council to violate our rights. Now, we're going to talk about this budget, about the strange things that's happening. Because, again, your name was on this executive order of May 2023. This executive order for immigration, migrants, and refugee rights. You caused all this money to go to illegal immigrants, not Harold Washington. You gonna be held accountable for it. And we want a forensic audit of the money that was spent on illegal immigration. You all are trying to do everything but that, when in fact, that's where all the money went. So anything that you all pass, it's not genuine. It's not honest. Because you're trying to cover up where our money actually went. Now, it's been some strange voting going on. Let's talk about the fact that Taliaferro and Lopez, Sergio Lopez, got extra money. Could it be because Byron Sergio Lopez wrote a letter on my behalf to help with my case, and so did Taliaferro? Could it be that they were told that they could get more votes if they blew my case? Whoa. Now, let's look at Alderman David Moore, who have been in here and listened to me talk about my probate all the time and haven't done anything. Could it be he planning a seminar with Lori and them, while at the same time selling me out? Because he's supposed to be getting a field house for his ward. We got something for you. Fridays, famous Friday, and we got another one. This is Chicago Flip Red. Chicago Red got you too. You got Chicago Red and you got Chicago Flip Red, and both of us getting that. So now, who's gonna be famous Friday? Who are this name real fast? Carlos Ramirez Rosa. Yeah!
Thank you very much for your comments. However, your time has expired. Our next speaker is Sharon Abbott.
Brandon Johnson, first of all, I hate to break your heart. I didn't vote for you. I'm a lifelong conservative. Nevertheless, your job is to represent all of the people of Chicago and not your own personal interests. On May 15, 2020, you took your oath of office and solemnly swore to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that you would faithfully discharge the duties of the office of mayor to the best of your ability. The U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Section 4, states that the United States shall guarantee to every state in the Union a Republican form of government and shall protect each of these against invasion. The preamble of the U.S. Constitution states that we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and provide for the common defense. Likewise, the Illinois Constitution reiterates that the people formed our government with its primary role being to ensure domestic tranquility and provide for the common defense. Brandon Johnson, you have violated your oath of office. You have not supported the U.S. Constitution nor the Illinois Constitution. You have not protected the people of Chicago from invasion nor ensured domestic tranquility. You have also ignored the Declaration of Independence, which declares that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. No one appointed a monarch to rule over the people of Chicago. Rather, as mayor, your duty is to serve the public, and you are bound by the parameters of the Constitution only to act by the consent of the people. Members of City Council, you likewise took an oath of office to support the U.S. and Illinois Constitution. You are also bound by the parameters of the Constitution only to act by the consent of the people.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is David Mason.
We have to remember history, because the number one thing that we know for certain is that history always repeats itself. So, Mr. Johnson, I know that you can appreciate with me giving you a history lesson with you being a former social studies teacher from Elgin. Well, you plan on going back to the classroom anyway. That was the whole purpose with you taking a leave of absence, right? Well, besides the mental reason. I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that out loud. But let's go ahead and talk about history repeating itself. Let's talk about taxation. Chicago has a tax for everything. Water tax, grocery tax, tourist tax, hotel tax, bag tax, liquor tax, cigarette tax, the highest sales tax in the country by far, parking tax, surcharge of downtown parking, property lease tax, and streaming tax. The only thing that you all don't have a tax for yet is oxygen tax. And the only reason why you don't have a tax for that just yet is because you ain't figured out how to do it yet. But let me not speak too soon, because you probably might actually think it's a good idea and you're going to try to write it down. So let's go ahead and talk about, let's not forget about the good old sugar tax. Y'all remember y'all used to back in 2016 and you go to your favorite grocery store and you buy your favorite 24-pack of pop? Well, you paying more taxes on that pop than what the actual cost of it is. What you didn't know is that your buddy Brandon Johnson voted for that sugar tax. So it's not a surprise that he wants to pour a $40 million line of credit and put the city in even more debt than what we already owe with the $1.2 billion deficit. But it's your fault that because you gave half the money to illegals. Also, it's lazy government is what you call it. So let's not forget that we got to watch these politics. And I was at that Board of Czar meeting. And Tom Homan said out of his mouth that it is illegal to harbor and conceal illegal aliens. So like I told you before, that you ain't going to blink, well, we ain't going to flinch either. Now, I'm going to tell you another thing. All you illegals, you ain't going to have no Merry Christmas. You're going to have a Merry Deportation Christmas.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Robert Thierry.
Hello. Thank you for letting me have this opportunity to speak. My name is Robert Thierry. In 2017, I became homeless and disabled. But this year, there was an October 7th attack on two of Chicago's homeless people. Mr. Paul Williams and David Swick were both executed for being homeless, and David Swick was also disabled. I was protesting because homeless lives matter. On November 14th, I was attacked by the owner of the JJ Fish. I have video footage on my cell phone. I did not fight back. They made a false report on me saying that I assaulted them. I was told I could not press charges because I was the assailant on the false report. So November 21st, I went to headquarters at a town hall meeting. And the next day, November 22nd, a detective was assigned. I kept calling him. I didn't get through to him till November 26th. I requested him to look at the video footage at Nikki's across the street from 7828. Actually, 7829 is Nikki's address. He said he would get back to me on Saturday. I didn't get back to him. I had to call him on December 2nd. And I sent him my video on my cell phone. And again, I requested him to look at the video footage at the Nikki's. But instead, he went to JJ Fish and called me on December 6th. He called me. He told me to go talk to the owner of Nikki's, that the owner wants to make amends with me. And I told him no, I wasn't going to do that. He then said, if you don't drop the charges against him, then I will arrest you for harassing the owner of JJ Fish. I said, no, I want to press charges. I want to go order of protection on him. He hung up the phone on me. JJ Fish shows a history of total disregard for human life and violence against a disabled citizen of Chicago. Please look into this matter and shut down JJ Fish at 7828 South Western Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is the Chicago Conservative.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
You spent over $574 million on illegal immigrants here in Chicago, Illinois since 2022. Now, you still feel like you have to harbor these illegals, which is not a good idea. And in my personal opinion, I don't think it's a good idea to challenge Tom Homan on this because he's trying to clean up our cities, Mr. Brandon Johnson. Now, let me just remind everybody here that Brandon Johnson is terrible with the budget. How is this $40 million credit line is going to work exactly? Because the key word is credit. So how much will we be using from this $40 million? And the real question is, how much will we be paying back? Now, you want to sit here, you and J.B. Pritzker want to puff out your chest and fight Tom Homan. We need Tom Homan here in Chicago. We need Donald Trump. And I don't want to see people like Pam Bundy and Kash Patel, haul you up out of here and become prosecuted. I don't want to see that happen. But they will do their job if they have to, Brandon Johnson. Now, we are $1 billion in debt. That's absolutely insane. Kamala Harris, she spent $1 billion on her campaign less than a year, and she's $20 million in debt. So it's looking like Democrats are bad with money. Now, you ignored me for 10 to 15 seconds last time I was speaking, and I really did not appreciate that at all. But I got a Christmas present for you. Let's remind the people of Chicago that Brandon Johnson spent $32,000 in campaign funds on haircuts and makeup. So I got an early Christmas present for you, Brandon Johnson. This is some makeup for you right here. You got some rouge. You got the makeup brush right there, so you can save this people some money, for crying out loud. Now, let me tell you people, I'm going to be serious here. We need to start voting different in these cities like New York and Chicago. Stop voting these people in. It's not Democrat versus Republican anymore. It is populist versus establishment. It is the populist versus the establishment. Stop letting them trick you into the race baiting when it comes to Brandon Johnson. Oh, black people need help too. Trump want to hurt black people. What are you talking about? We're legal here. We are legal. Now, I'm trying to be nice about this, And Mr. Brandon Johnson, I do respect you in a little bit of way because you're trying the best that you can. I really want to believe that. But listen, man, you got a 14% approval rating. So the people is looking like they're telling you that you're fired, man. So I'm just humbly asking you, Brandon Johnson, to please come up with something that's reasonable by the end of this year, because I don't want to see a government shutdown, Mr. Brandon Johnson. Please do your job. I don't care if you're black. Chicago needs to get rid of DEI. I don't care if you're black. Can you do the job? Can you do the job, Mr. Brandon Johnson? And it's looking like you can't do the job. So please don't fail us.
Thank you very much for your comments. Your Honor, there are no further speakers who have timely signed up for the public comment period.
Farewell. Thank you. Okay. Sergeant at Arms, please restore order. Sergeant at Arms, please remove these individuals from the chambers. Thank you. This chamber will come back to order. Thank you very much. Members of the public, please. Members of the public, if you wish to stay in the chambers, please sit down and return to order. Members of the public, if you wish to remain in the chambers, thank you very much. Though there are